Good morning, my beautiful coffee beans. I'm Bullhorn Betty. We're covering the case of Lynette Hooker and Nancy Guthrie, both missings from different sides of the universe. And of course, Palm Beach County, 3 officers arrested and a cluster of teenagers missing from Hillsborough County. That is what we are discussing today on the Bullhorn Betty Show. So please come in for this breaking information as we dive into these cases. God bless each and every one of you. We will see you soon.
To do a job, it's part of the job. It is a dangerous. I can't imagine that there's any profession that's more dangerous.
Bullhorn Betty rocks.
So as you guys know, come on in. This is the Bullhorn Betty channel, and we've got a lot of breaking news to go over this morning.
Files on the table. We clocking early. Hunt what's unstable. Bullhorn Betty on the curb, voice raised. Flip-flop queen with the homemade phrase. Notebook thick, got the screenshots flag. Names in red ink, every rumor, every tag. Late night live stream, screen glow on her face. Truth in her throat, got a lawman's pace. She don't blink when the threats roll through. Come see me, she says, if you think that's cute. Bullhorn Betty in the coffee club. We hunt bad guys till the sun comes up. From the front porch steps to the courthouse rug. We fighting for the ones that they gave up. Bullhorn Betty in the coffee club. Sip that truth from a styrofoam cup. From the quiet streets to the madhouse buzz. We ain't letting go till we get that justice. Insane Asylum, that's our crew nickname. Laugh so loud while we track these names. Whiteboard wild with the webs we spin. Pen to pen, see the pattern sink in. Turmo shaking when the case goes cold. We stir it back up, won't do what we're told. Doorstep question, side eye stare. Where were you that night? We hanging right there. Bullhorn Betty in the coffee club. We hunt bad guys till the sun comes up. From the front porch steps to the courthouse rug. We fighting for the ones that they gave up. Bullhorn Betty in the coffee club. Sip that truth from a styrofoam cup. From the quiet streets to the madhouse buzz. We ain't letting go till we get that justice. This for the faces on the milk cart labels. This for the families praying at tables. This for the names that the news won't say. We say them out loud every single day. Every day. If you're running in the dark, better feel that fear. Betty got a bullhorn right in your ear. Coffee club crazy, but we think so clear. One small town, whole world gonna hear. Hey! Bullhorn Betty in the coffee club. We hunt bad guys till the sun comes up. From the front porch steps to the courthouse rug. We fighting for the ones that the day gave up. Bullhorn Betty in the coffee club. Sip that truth from a styrofoam cup. From the quiet streets to the madhouse buzz. We ain't letting go till we get quit trust.
Da da da. Well, hello, my beauties, my beauties. It is nice to see you this happy hump day. If you are here, you have survived Cinco de Mayo. Let me turn that volume down just a little bit so I ain't breaking your ears this morning. It is nice to see you. We are all coming in. I don't want that one. I want my danger zone. Can we survive? And I went door knocking yesterday, and of course, you know, my BFF, she did me right. She did me authentic. We had tacos, burritos, or whatever, you know. I ended up making a burrito. Her grandchildren made tacos, you know. She had it all out. You kind of make what you want. I wanted a burrito, okay? I could have went for a taco. I could have went for a taco salad. I could have made it any old type of way I wanted to. So I went ahead and made myself a burrito. So I enjoyed my Cinco de Mayo. I was sweaty. I was hot. I was knocking doors. But that's okay. That's okay. I was at the meeting yesterday by phone. I talked about Daryl Sheets from Storage Wars and online bullying yesterday as part of my commentary, and the true amount of money that I have spent fighting online bullying and other things. And then, of course, we have some Yahoo. Her name's Peggy. She's from this county. You guys know her pretty well if you guys were watching Queen Bee's channel back in the day, because Queen Bee had her stalk me and promoted and encouraged her to stalk me. She lives in my community, so she started getting in her car and coming by my house. Bad mistake. She started showing up at court hearings that, I was going through a divorce. There was some credit card debt my husband owed. They were trying to sue me for the money. So I ended up going, she went to court. She followed me to court. This lady is insane. She's 70-something years old. She's insane. She lives right here in Manatee County. Her name's Peggy. So she decides to make another post about Tennessee, which we all know Tennessee was a lie. We all know about Tennessee. We got our whole little fight all left for Tennessee that hasn't even come to fruition yet. So she decides to start defaming me again with vicious lies. So I have decided I'm suing her. She's in my county, very easy to do. It's enough's enough. We've already called the cops. The cops have been over to her house, told her to leave me alone. This idiot can't seem to leave me alone. So I'm sending her a cease and desist letter this morning, and it's not a requirement to sue her. So by this afternoon, I'm filing suit in Manatee County against Miss Peggy. I've had enough of it. I'm going to tell everybody out here, I'm done with your bullying. Blank screen, you too. You want to sit here and call me grifter, but you're the one sitting out and emailing all of Queen Bee's people for $25 so you can go buy your pills? So you can pill pop? You drug addict piece of you-know-what? And you've been up in my chat? I'm coming for you too, boo. I'm done. So we are going to make a stand here. We've been making a stand for 5 years against online bullying. Our feat is not over yet. We have a lot of problems with online bullying. I'm working on it here in the state of Florida. I'm hoping that we get a national initiative. And we're not talking about online bullying for kids. I am so sick and tired of all these rules being made for children as if this is not affecting adults. I need our politicians to pull their heads out of their behinds. That's what I need. So another suit is going to be filed today in Manatee County against Miss Peggy, if you guys would like to pull that up. I can't tell you guys her name on this platform, otherwise they'll try to come after and try to get this this video down. So I'm not going to use any names to specifically identify her, but you guys all know my name. So I would say in the next 48, 72 hours, I would be looking under my name to find the suit, and you guys can redact it and put it out if you guys would like to see who she is. I've already posted all the information on Facebook. Again, I've been nice to this lady. She's 70-something years old. I didn't want to do this. This has been going on for 4 years. I'm done. Okay? It was going to be one of two things. I'm either going to protest in front of Chateau Village, or I'm going to sue her. I've decided to sue her because at this point it's time to make her start spending some money and maybe learn a lesson on why you don't do online bullying and you don't defame people unnecessarily. So it's time for her to get her just desserts. So baby, I'm coming for you. Okay? I'm coming for you. See you soon, Miss Peggy. I'll see you soon. Now we also have some other information going on right now. We've got 3 officers. Now I tell you, corruption is everywhere, and it's this type of crap that gives law enforcement bad names. You guys know I've got friends that are in law enforcement, and I love my friends, and I love their families, right? I want them to come home alive every single day to their families. We are a pro law enforcement on this channel. We are pro balls and backbones on this channel. If it doesn't matter what type of aisle you're on, don't tell me you want to live yourself in danger. Don't tell me that. None of us do, right? None of us want to live in danger. We want safe homes. We want the comfort and the sanctity of our homes. And we have law enforcement that helps us achieve that. And when we have law enforcement acting like a bunch of knuckleheads, doing corrupt all around crap, it puts other officers in danger. It puts my friends in danger. So as you guys can imagine, I am really anti-corruption when it comes to law enforcement because I feel law enforcement already has a bad name. I feel like law enforcement has already the hardest job in the world, and they literally put their lives on the line for all of us ingrates, right? For all these people that don't even freaking know. They're going out there busting their butt, may not even go home to their family tonight because of us ingrates. And then they have their own people that wear the badge that are further insulting their good name and reputation. And these are three of those very people. So in Palm Beach, which it's corruptible, right? We have 2 deputies and a sergeant arrested, facing fraud and kidnapping charges of all things. Fraud and kidnapping charges. I will tell you right now, I'm not a violent person. I do talk a lot of hyperbole. Like I'm from the Slapaho tribe and pop the neck, you pop the head. Well, beat the you know what out of you, right? It's hyperbole, right? But it's stories like this that makes me just, almost wish I had the ability to take it from hyperbole and into action. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Because this story really kind of enrages me. So we're going to go through these 2 stories in the cluster of the kids that are missing, and then I'm going to say good morning to all of you guys, and then we'll get started. This is in West Palm Beach. 2 Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office deputies and sergeants were arrested and booked on multiple charges, according to the records from Palm Beach County Jail. Deputy Legiodi, I don't know how to pronounce his name, Acevedo, Deputy Denise Mickle, and Sergeant Travis Fowler were booked into jail on Tuesday. All 3 faced 2 counts of fraud. In addition to the Acevedo, he faces tampering with evidence, battery, kidnapping, and false imprisonment. Seems like he's the strong arm that tried to keep all the corruption under wrap. This has no place in our law enforcement, not just here in the state of Florida, but across this country. When you see this kind of stuff, you guys expose it. Okay, this is how we weed out the bad guys. Why it took them so long to figure this out, I have no idea. But if you are wearing the badge and you're doing all around F crap, we're going to find you, and hopefully you go to jail for a really long time, and even more so than a normal criminal, because we had trust and faith in you, and we gave you ability to do things that other people didn't have. We trusted our law enforcement, and we continue to trust our law enforcement. And it's crap like this that gives us, the public, a bad taste in our mouth. And it's what puts other officers in danger. So we are like, boo, 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 right? Boo. Now we're going to move over here. We've got a cluster, and this is not the first cluster we've had of Tampa individuals disappearing. My best friend told me about this a month ago. We had a cluster of like 6 to 9 about a month ago, and now we're having another bunch of clusters of these teenage kids disappearing. And this is happening in our area. You can see a lot of them, disadvantaged, black, brown. And the reason why we're pointing this out is because I feel like somebody's targeting them. Okay, it's not because of any other purpose. Then I feel like they're being targeted. I don't know if they're going into ST or they're being HT or what's going on with them, but it seems to me like our juveniles in the Tampa Bay area that look like these individuals behind me are being targeted because there's just too many of them. It's just there's too many people and too many teenage kids that are disappearing from my backyard, and nobody can answer why. And this is the second round that I've personally heard about. It's clusters. It's clusters. And so I don't know if anybody else is having this around the country, if this is just happening in my backyard, or if you guys are seeing a targeting of individuals. But we need to start monitoring this in all of our communities, because if this is true, then we're having certain type of people being targeted across this country for trafficking purposes, in my opinion. And because this is so rampant and we had our head in the sand for so long about this problem, there's a lot of people that are sucked into this disgusting underbelly of society that we had no earthly idea about. We kept saying, oh, this happens in other countries. Oh, this happens in other countries. This doesn't happen in the United States. And of course we should know we have the most disgusting and vile human beings existing on this land, as opposed to any other part of the United States of America. So of course, this could be happening in our backyard. This is becoming a problem, and we need to do something to help. So the first thing is awareness, right? The first thing is awareness. The second thing is identifying if there's any things that are attributable from one victim to another victim, right? And I think that we're starting to identify at least that, the attributes. So I think we need to identify this. We're identifying that it appears that there is somebody plucking teenage children from at least a community in Tampa. I don't know if any other communities are dealing with the same situation, but we do need to bring awareness to the fact that we do have kids being, in my opinion, plucked. Absolutely plucked. And lastly, we might actually cover this case. This case is kind of one of those cases that defy logic. I haven't dived into this case yet, so you might have to email me to let me know that this is something that does interest you. But this is a little bit different because we don't really, we do cover cases that are older people. Obviously, we're covering Lynette Hooker and Nancy Guthrie. We also cover children. We have Layla well, that's not a child, that's an adult, a young adult. But Summer Wells and Sebastian Rogers. But this is one that's a truck driver. Now, I know we've heard about this case, but we haven't dived into it. And this is a Florida truck driver that appears to have been abducted and his rig stolen. And they found his murdered body in Georgia. And so I'm actually thinking about covering this case. It doesn't seem like it's getting some attention, but it's not getting enough attention that it should be getting. And this man has been a victim of a homicide. And it doesn't sound like they have any idea who stole his rig and who murdered him. So we might be diving into this. And as you can see, this happened on I-95. 41-year-old was last seen at a Brevard County rest area. That's further south than me. And I-95 is on the East Coast. I'm on the West Coast. So I-75 is closer to me. I-95 is on the other side of the Florida. So this is kind of on the other side of Florida, like Daytona, Melbourne, that side of Florida, and I-95. So he was abducted in Florida, it sounds like, and he was taken to Georgia and murdered. They found him in Georgia murdered. So just something to be aware of. We're going to be diving in. Now we're going to be getting into this. Before we get into this, I want to say good morning to everybody. It is so nice to see you. Thank you for giving me at least 30 minutes of your time so we can learn other cases. So I'm going to say good morning to all of you. Melanie, it's nice to see you. Our Garden Eyes is up in the chat. Hello, hello, our beautiful Unicorn, Indiana, followed by Denise. Good morning, ladies. I hope you guys are doing well. OG Jitter up in the chat. True Crime Junkie, it's nice to see you. Donna, good morning. Downey, it's nice to see you. I hope you're doing well. Our beautiful Aletha up in the chat. Let them 66. It is nice to see you. Mike has something to say. He says, we know the soulmate, and I'm reading this because we're about to dive into Lynette Hooker's case. We know the soulmate has two sophisticated types of radar and electronic systems for her to be disappeared on a boat and taken somewhere. I don't think, it doesn't sound like they could move, that he would be able to move the sailboat. It sounds like whatever he did on a paddleboard or his dinghy. But at night, I don't know if we would see the dinghy from Lubbers. We might see a faint little light, but I feel like, he was out there monkeying around on his boat at 12:30. We saw the lights moving on his boat at around 12:30. So I feel like that's when he was making the preparations of preparing her to do whatever. So he was there at 12:30. That only gave him so much time before he had to, wash up on shore on Marsh Harbor, 4 hours later, 3.5 hours later. So that really does kind of bring us in. I believe she's on land. I think that would be the most probable, or in those mangroves somewhere around there, because those seem so probable. But I don't think that, and it's because he had to have help unhooking his boat. And so that was the telltale sign. If he had to have help unhooking his boat, he wouldn't have been able to do that if he killed his partner. You know, she would need to unhook the boat. She's always been the one that unhooked the boat previously. Or she did, and she had to, you know, back the boat up, or whatever the case is. Plant Lady, it's nice to see you. GT, hello, hello, hello. Deanna, Danielle, Stacy, Carol, it's nice to see you. Linda, good morning, love. I hope you are doing well. We heard Grady Judd made a big arrest. I know. I feel bad. If you guys, he's my friend. You know, I'm friends with him on Facebook. We've done a few gigs. Very heartbreaking. Very heartbreaking. But people make mistakes, but damn. Like, you know, we're already, all of us are so under the microscope, and we've been under the microscope for literally a decade. You know, it's hard to even date, in all fairness, you know, because of privacy concerns. And, you know, he's, of course, married. If you guys don't know what we're talking about, I'm doing that intentionally. Mike knows who I'm talking about, so I'm just going to speak to Mike. But it's a little heartbreaking, you know, because he's done so much, and he's come such a far way. And, you know, he, of all things, though, of all things, of all blessed things, but all I could do was pray. That's all I could do, was just pray over him, pray over his wife, pray over his family, you know, just pray. That's all I could do. So KM, it's nice to see you. I hope you're doing well. Who else do we have? Bookworm, Unicorn. I think I said hi to you, Unicorn. Maria, it's nice to see you. Steph, good morning. Two Speed, it's nice to see you. Popcorn Jur, it's nice to see you. Nice to see you. I don't know if we should call you a human or terrestrial life, because you're like, hey, hello, humans. Hello. Bird, it's nice to see you. I hope you're doing well. Good morning, good morning, Dolce. It's nice to see you. Phil from across the pond. Hello. And all our family from across the pond. Good day to you guys, or good evening, depending on where you are. Sunflower, it's nice to see you. Banfield pretty much gave us a virtual tour of the boat. We're about to go over it. That's what I've got pulled up right now. Because that's really the only thing that we've got that's really breaking in the case, right? We've got nothing going on. I mean, we can sit here and talk all day long about how Brian, you know, never searched for his wife and then skipped town his first opportunity, and has never, have we seen him rush back? I haven't seen the man rush back to the Bahamas to look for his wife. I mean, it's now been over a month. It's been over a month, and this man that just needed to get out so he could go search for his wife, he just has to go search for his wife, right? And the first opportunity he had to skip, he skipped, and guess what? He's never came back. Guess what else? His mom that was on her deathbed, still kicking, yeah. So it sounds like she wasn't as in need of his help and him being there as he tried to proclaim to everybody that he needed to be there. Pretty interesting stuff, quite frankly. Big Mac Mike, it's nice to see you. I hope you're doing well. Oh, thank you. Let me hold on, put that, then we'll put you back up. Good morning, BHB. You are amazing. I love you. We love you too. Back at you, babe. Royce, it's nice to see you. Hot damn. Good morning. Hello. Ruby. Gary, it's nice to see you. We like hot and sweaty. Well, you and I had your work cut out for you yesterday when I was door knocking. I only had one lady that was like, you know, snooty, and she must have knew me. She took her a second to recognize me, and I'm like, you know, knocking on the door, you know, I'm Andra, I'm with so-and-so's campaign, you know, how are you with your taxes, your roads, and your government? How do you like your taxes, roads, and government, right? And you know what? 99.9% hate our government, our roads, and our taxes. So I've already got them talking, okay? I've already got them talking at the door. And so I asked the lady, I said, well, your commissioner is Amanda. I said, are you really happy with her? I'm at the commission all the time. And it's like, You are? Huh. Didn't recognize ya. So am I, honey. Isn't that funny? I am too. I'm there all the time. Like, my politicians hate me. I can't wait to replace them. Manatee County needs to replace our commissioners. They're garbage, and they just spent money yesterday. Just throwing our money out. Just, you want some money? You know who all gets the money? Everybody but the people that need it. Everybody but the people that need it. Deb, it's nice to see you. Vicky, hello. And she's like, I'm not sending anything. I said, okay, have a great day. Bye. Yes, so it was hot. It's Florida hot. It's hot. Trust the process. It's nice to see you. Hello. It's nice to see you. Shiny little objects. Good morning. It's nice to see you. Hey, Hev Granato. Granto. Hopefully I said that right. It looks like you're from out of the country. It's nice to see you. Welcome from across the pond. Is Sue Ellen? I'm a boss, bish. It's nice to see you. Alaska girl. Hello, my love. I hope you're doing well. Good morning. Stalking is real. It is. And you guys watched what I went through. I'm done. Like everybody's being. You guys have no earthly idea. You'll hear. You'll just sit tight. Everything's coming into play. Don't worry. Everything's going to be focused very quickly here. It's nice to see you, Lady for Justice. It's nice to see you. Good morning. The givers and the takers, it's nice to see you. Hello. Ms. Lissa Wildcard, it's nice to see you. Our beautiful, let me heart that. Our beautiful Let Them 66 says, Lord is gracious and righteous. Our God is full of compassion. Psalm 116:5. Love you, BHB chats and mods. Back at ya, babe. It's nice to see you. Thank you for that. We appreciate you. And all the love that you guys send. Who else do we have? We have Gma. It's nice to see you. I hope you're doing well. Like all those missing scientists. Those scientists are dead. I believe those scientists are dead. I feel so bad for the families. And I feel so bad it took us forever to figure it out. Like, we should have been cued in. This didn't just happen. This has been going on for years. Like every 2 or 3 years, every year, 2 or 3 scientists were disappearing and dying. Why did it take us 4 years to get a clue? I mean, some of this stuff was going on in 2023 and 2024. I mean, we're in the middle of 2026. I mean, 1 scientist, 2 scientists, but by 3 scientists, people's freaking spidey senses and the bells over their heads should have just been going off and blaring. We weren't paying attention. I don't pay attention to that kind of stuff. I'm not into the UFOs and the scientists and other stuff. I'm into the politics, the a-holes that are trying to put their feet on our neck, right? Those are the people I'm worried about. And just all types of craziness. Keep being amazing. Thank you for all you do. Love your honesty. When I called you on Christmas of 2024, you have never forgotten my name. Aw. Like I said, I only need to hear it once. If I can hear it, then I'll remember it. Because I remember faces. And I'm really good with names because I got a weird name. My birth name is a weird name. So I know how frustrating it can be. Oh, thank you. Let me give you a heart. Thank you. So it's nice to see you guys. Who else do we have? We got Oakley up in the house. Sandy from across the pond. It's nice to see you. Arizona Raven. Good morning. Laura, Donna, say, I hope you have a great day. Using the milestone. We love it. Don't forget, if you guys are a member, every single month you guys get a free milestone message that you can put up in chat. Don't let it go to waste. Adrian, it's nice to see you. Little Orange Man, it's nice to see you. Lady for Justice, using her milestone as well. Been here for a while. Love you. We love you back. Thank you so very much. Who else do we have? I think that's about it. I think we got just about it. Frank it up. It's nice to see you. Be kind, be humbled. Ooh, I love that. Thank you. Kim Ray, it's nice to see you. Hello, my love. DJ, good morning. It's nice to see you. Janet. Veronica, dreaming of blue skies and sandy beaches. Deb, it is nice to see our beautiful Jewel up in the chat. Good morning, ladies. Good morning. I hope you're doing well. Let me see if I missed anybody else. If you're new to the chat, oh, Julie, good morning. If you're new to the chat, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. And if you're on the replay crew, consider hyping this show. So let's go ahead and dive in this morning. We're going to be starting off first with our Lynette and Brian Hooker case. And the reason why is because we've been kind of diving in a little bit deeper on Nancy Guthrie. Nancy Guthrie, we kind of started going through our deep research where we're pulling up all of the videos. We don't have them yet. We only grabbed the two that we knew that were the most. We had the first one out there, which was 857 Tucson. He was the first on the scene from True Crime Community. And then we had the mainstream media, which we haven't even dived into their footage yet. And then, of course, we had JLR that we brought up, which came out there very close. I believe there might have been some other content creators, so I'm going to need your help. Hey, Monica, it's been a while. Good morning, love. I hope you're doing well. We need to identify the other content creators out there. I'm looking for all the footage for the first week. I'm not willing to go past the first week just yet because in my estimation, the suspect comes back early on in the case, not necessarily later. They want to kind of see what's going on, be a little nosy, and then they want to get out. Now, if things are getting a little intense, they might come back out there just to nose around a little more and blend in. But we did find somebody that showed up of all days on a Saturday talking about TMZ, talking about becoming famous, had the right skin color, the right hair color, the right eye color. And the reason why we're saying this is because it appears that the person on the outside of, ethnicity-wise, the person on the outside of Nancy Guthrie's house is not white and they're not black. So it sounds like they're more of an olive or brown skin tone, such as Italian, Eastern European, Middle Eastern, or Hispanic. Okay, so that's kind of the identity of the person we're looking for. So we can eliminate anybody that's white unless they're really dark, right? We have some people that work out in the sun all the time. Dolly was out there, but he was down further. I don't know if he would have that, but he might have some of the people that were, like driving down that road, because he was up that road. I think he might, you know what, that actually might not be a bad idea, Mike, because Dolly did, he was on that road that goes up to the construction property. Like he was on that strip that had a direct angle down the way to Nancy's house, because there's a road right in front of her house. And then up at the top of that road is that construction site that people were really concerned about. Been here since 2024. Love it. I love it. Love it. Love it. Then I'm better after. Oh my gosh. We did not know you were going through all that. Well, we've been praying for anybody who needs them. So we hope our prayers manage to make their way to you. Oh, we got some people using their milestones. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. But I hope you feel better. I'm so sorry. We did not know that you were struggling like that, Monica. Oh, bless you. That's exactly why we pray for everybody, right? Even the ones that we pray for, the ones that are struggling, right? We don't know who they are. So we just say a prayer for those that are struggling. So getting back to this, let's go ahead and jump right on in. We've got Ashley Banfield. We've kind of really, me and Ashley weren't really the BFFs, it was a long time ago. I harped on it for quite some time. Tam, it's nice to see you, love. Oh, love Lakers. Joanne, it's nice to see you. Sister Karen, good morning. When the podcaster says there was video, the car guy's face dropped. It is so noticeable. Yeah, that's what we're trying to find. We're trying to find people. One thing I noticed is that, and it's something that I do too. It's not something that I'm shaming or frustrated with by any stretch of the imagination when it comes to the people or the podcasters out there or even the media. But one thing we don't do is we don't look in the cars. We don't take notice of people driving by. And, we have to start remembering in our minds when we're at these crime scenes that there's a possibility of the suspect coming back. And we should be really paying attention to that. We're not. And again, I'm not punishing or shaking my feet. I do the same thing. So it's something that I'm saying vocally, and I'm saying it. So it also stays in my brain too. So I don't forget, because, here we are going back and we're looking for something very, very specific, right? We're looking for somebody that appears to have gone by there that doesn't fit or belong. And we got one guy that just kind of right off the rip did not fit, and he's right in that time frame. Within the first 2 days, he has the olive skin, the brown hair, the brown eyes, and he's looking for TMZ. He's looking for to be famous, and he was a delivery car and acknowledged delivering for Miss Nancy Guthrie. That it hit all of the check marks. Not that we're saying he had anything to do with it. That's not what I'm saying. But it just goes to show you what we're looking for when we're diving into all of that footage, right? And it's similar here with Lynette and Brian Hooker, right? And the only person that really had the ability to make connection out there is Ashley Banfield. So she's pretty much dominating this Bahamas story, because one, she went out there personally. She met the people out there. She made good connections with the people out there. People tuned into her show. People are actually reaching out to her to give them informations, like that family from the Lubbers Island. They had those cameras that were right toward Aunt Pat's Bay, and then based upon everything in the land masses, you could identify which boat was specifically Soulmate. And once you identified the boat that was Soulmate, then you could watch the video and see if anything weird was going on in the boat. And lo and behold, there was weird things going on in the boat. But the number one thing that we took away, no matter what we looked at, is that there was movement on that boat when nobody should have been on that boat, because Lynette should have already been drowned or swept away out to sea, and Brian should have already been halfway across the channel on his floating expedition, because he was pushed away from his wife and lost the keys and la 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 la, right? So why is there any movement on the Soulmate? And why was her watch? This is going to be the camel that breaks the back of the story. And it's going to be that watch. And here's why. Because Brian didn't take into consideration Lynette's normal behaviors, right? I got up this morning. We talked about it with Nancy Grace, about how we all get up and we kind of do. She is. At times she is. At times she is. At times she is. But think about it. What did you guys do this morning? Let's walk through it. I want you guys to close your eyes just for a second. Okay, I'm closing my eyes. And I want you to envision you waking up this morning. What did you do? Right? I can tell you one of the first things. We're going to go TMI here. Okay, we're going to put it all out on the table, right? So please don't use this against me in the future. But we're going to go TMI, okay? What is the first thing I do? The first thing I do is I wake up and I go pee. That is the very first thing I do. If my dog comes up and she's at my feet when I go pee, I take her out so she can go pee. If she's not there, then she's not ready to go pee, okay? Then what do? I make sure my coffee pot's on. On the way to walking my coffee pot, my dehumidifier in my house usually is full. So on my way there, I grab the canister out of that and I dump it into the sink and I put it back. And then I start setting up my my coffee pot. You're like, Betty, you just went to the bathroom and started your coffee pot. Yeah, and by the way, I did wash my hands, right? We wash our hands. But I didn't brush my teeth yet. That's not part of my routine. I don't go into the bathroom, use the potty, wash my hands, and brush my teeth. I don't do that. That's not part of my routine. My routine's very specific every single morning. It might be a little different, but I go potty. Then I go into the kitchen. I dump my water out of my dehumidifier. I get my coffee pot ready. I go check on Delilah. I pop back in bed for just a little bit just to play with her and get her riled up. And then I go in, before I do my first cup of coffee, I go into the bathroom and I brush my teeth. That is my normal routine, okay? I did that routine this morning. Now, why am I going through my personal business to a bunch of strangers? It's to prove a point, because Lynette does the same thing, right? Except in the evening, she does the same thing. During the day, they never know what they're going to do. During the day, they live on their boat. So they find things to keep them occupied during the day. And they go out to different islands and explore and do the boat life thing, right? Well, after they're done with their crusade for the day, what does she do? She most likely comes straight home and takes her Fitbit off and charges it. Hers is Apple Watch. I had a Fitbit. My day was very similar. When I was working and I had my Fitbit, I'd come in from work, and the first thing I did was take my Fitbit off my wrist, put it on the charger, and jump in the shower. That's what I did every day when I came from work. As soon as I got my pajamas on, I used to crack a beer. That was my routine. I don't drink anymore. I haven't drank in years. But that was my routine. I came in, I put my charger, my thing on the charger. I always looked at to see how many steps I got for the day. And then I took it off because it was almost dead. And I put it on the charger and I'd jump in the shower and get dressed. That was my evening routine. Well, her evening routine was coming in from wherever they were and taking her Fitbit or her Apple Watch off to charge because it barely lasted the entire day. So by the time she got home, she needed to charge it. That is going to be the catalyst that breaks this story down, because how the hell did that Apple Watch that we can observe in her photos, she had photos that day with her powder pink Apple Watch. Yet that powder pink Apple Watch was on that boat. And we had already believed that they made it back to the boat because we believed that Brian's story, let's face it, was horse crap. It was horse crap, right? How many of you guys believe it was horse crap? Put ones in chats, raise your hands, whatever. We all knew something didn't jive with this story, right? Something didn't jive. If Chris is in the chat, I did want to let Chris know that I do have we're going to be opening the panel up for Nancy Guthrie. So just for all the people that are out there, when we get to the Nancy Guthrie case, we're going to be opening up the panel. I know Chris asked me that yesterday. I wasn't prepared for it last night. I was exhausted. So we're definitely going to do it today, as promised. So that's going to be what sinks his boat, in my opinion, because it proves, to me, I think it definitively proves that they made it back to their yacht, made it back to the soulmate. Yeah. There's a lot of people in our chat that just believe the whole story. I mean, from the beginning, we're like, jumping on late. Good morning, Mick Briggs. It's nice to see you, love. I hope you're doing well. Well, we went over a couple things. You missed the two stories. I had two minor stories. Three Palm Beach deputies. Well, two deputies and one sergeant were arrested for corruption, fraud. And one of them was even for battery, kidnapping, and it just real bad stuff from down south from Florida. And then, of course, we have cluster children that are missing in the Tampa Bay area. And what brought my attention to those cases was because my best friend had just brought, like a month or so ago, and she even followed back, and she's like, did you cover? Because she's not a true crimey, so she doesn't watch us, but she knows what I cover. And she's like, she gave me a lead. She's like, here's a story for you. And, I think I was in the middle of another story, so I never ran the story. And like a week or two later, she's like, did you ever run that story? I'm like, no, actually, I didn't. And she kind of rolled her eyes at me like, I give you a story and you don't even run it. Okay, thanks, BFF. All right. And then I was doing some research this morning, and we have another cluster of kids. And it just triggered something in me, reminding me of the conversation I had with my best friend about this cluster of kids that disappeared a few months ago. And now we have another round of cluster of kids being plucked, like, just sometimes two in one day. And it's making me wonder what the heck is going on here in Tampa, because usually you'll have a missing child or a runaway child from this area, or a missing and a runaway child from this area. But to have 5 or 6 of them in one radius, it doesn't usually work like that. Do you think Tiger Woods will get away with being intoxicated like Britney Spears did now? I think his days are over. I think he's done. I think Tiger Woods is toast, honestly. It's sad, a lot of fall from grace, but again, it shows you that addiction doesn't discriminate. Rich people, wealthy people, people that addiction is addiction. It doesn't discriminate. And, Tiger has been struggling with addiction for many years. And because he's so well known, it makes it a little harder because, for us, we can go into the rooms, we can go into, and yeah, it's anonymous and stuff like that. But you want to believe that it is, but you're at the mercy of other people, in those rooms and their integrity of keeping things silent. So it makes, in my opinion, when you're well known and famous, it makes it more difficult to become sober if you have problems. Because one of the things that we had to do was 90 meetings in 90 days. And when you're like a Tiger Woods, you got media up your butt. You got paparazzi up your butt. You can't go out to a meeting and do it. You're kind of forced to, like, this online stuff. And I'm sorry, it's not the same. Part of the process of going to the meetings is getting yourself a little job, like showing up every week to make the coffee, or showing up every day to make the coffee, just getting you a little something to do. It's more than just, showing up and talking. It's about listening to other people. It's about the connection. It's about the camaraderie. It's about finding yourself the sponsor for you and working the system. And this is what is the people that are famous. They don't ever get that ability to do unless they finally just succumb to this, and just are willing to go through that process, right? It's very difficult. It's difficult for people that aren't well known, and so I feel bad. I kind of, as a person in recovery, I feel bad for Tiger in part, but we got to quit looking at him and feeling sorry for him, because it's enabling him. This man will die from his addictions if he does not get the help he needs. And I want to repeat that again. Tiger Woods will ultimately die from his addictions if he does not get help. And so will Britney Spears. All these people need some serious help. And it's sad because, I don't think they're going to ever really get the type of help that we will get, because we can go into the rooms. They can too. It's just more difficult, and it's more public. And it brings too much attention to the room, for the other people that are trying to get sober. So it's got to be very, very hush hush. You got to work with the people of those rooms and kind of setting the form, because you're dealing with a lot of people, and some people may even go back and relapse and then start running gums about what they learned in the rooms. You just don't know. But I feel bad for him, and I'm sorry that he's going through that. Anyways, getting back to Lynette and Brian Hooker's story, it's really Lynette's story, because I believe she's a homicide victim. I believe Brian, her husband, unintentionally murdered her during a domestic violence situation. I think a domestic violence situation went overboard, and no pun intended, and she ended up losing her life. And one of the key ingredients was them being drunk, and they were drinking all day. We heard that they were at the Firefly, drinking for the better part of the day. We didn't have a whole lot of people that recognized them or remembered them from the Firefly. Nobody really recognized them or remembered them from the Abaco Inn. But again, getting back to Ashley Banfield, just working her sources, looking at photos, having them, do you have any photos from that day? Can I look at the photos from that day? And just really observing the photos. And thank God she was able to find some people that took photos and was able to identify Brian and Lynette, and you could clearly see there was something not right. They were apart in one photo, and then when they were kind of closer together, she's kind of just like this. And that to me is body language, right? That to me, like, when I'm like this, there's two reasons why I'm like this. I'm uncomfortable or I'm cold, right? Or uncomfortable / angry, one of those emotions, or I'm cold. That's the only way you're getting my hands like this. So she was sitting there looking, straight as he's looking kind of toward her. And you could just, and that was one of the things that I identified when we saw it, was that she seemed mad. She seemed upset or frustrated, even though they weren't, making this big orchestration out there, you could see that there was some type of tension. I don't believe a word that came out of Brian's mouth. I don't think anybody really does. I wish they could get help. It's really sad when you think, it is sad when you think about it, you know. And I watched like that crawler, and that New York crawler and the PA crawler where they go into these bad areas, and I gotta tell you, that stuff, it's not entertainment for me. You know, I look at those people and I see somebody's kid, right? I see somebody's parent. It's not entertainment for me. It breaks my heart. I can't watch it. I really can't. I can't watch those things where people look like zombies. It just, those are human beings. Those were people that had so much pain in their life that they just wanted to escape, you know. And I'll start crying. I don't even want to talk about it. You know, it's sad for me. It's sad, but I definitely don't make fun of people. Let me just be very clear on that. I don't, when I see stuff like that, that's not, and I think anybody that's been in recovery, I think they're kind of the same way as me. You look at that, it's not entertainment for us. It's not entertainment because, you know, you got to remember some of the people that I hung out with were that. And you just see them on the other side of that and see the human that they are, the lovely human that they are. And knowing all of those people out there have that in them, this sweet person that was just hurt beyond repair and then just gave up on life, you know. I don't know. It's just sad. It's sad. He's not going back to... No, of course not. No, he's not going... He ain't going nowhere. If he was going back, he would have been back, right? He decided to go to California and then straight to Michigan to get an attorney. I mean, it's only... I think we're on... I think this case here... You know, we're going to be getting into Nancy Guthrie case. I don't think we're on arrest watch. I don't even think we know what to do. I'm so angry with Lynette's... Or not Lynette's case, but Nancy's case. And now Kash Patel spoke out as well. Kash Patel just dropped a frickin' nuke on this case about how Chris Nanos forced the FBI to sideline for 4 days. The first 4 days, Nanos sidelined the FBI. Nanos sidelined the FBI.
Chance to get away with it. And I've already gone on record saying, I don't believe Brian Hooker's story that his
Nobody
wife
does.
bounced off the dinghy halfway between the Abaco Inn and Soulmate, this beautiful boat.
We don't either.
I don't believe it.
Nope.
But I can't wait to take you on board this boat. There's a couple ways I'm going to do this. Number one, we have a video we haven't shown you yet of Lynette Hooker's daughter, Carly Aylesworth. She, along with her boyfriend Steve, actually came to the Bahamas, boarded the boat to get some personal effects from Mom. Her scarves, photo, some things that were precious to her. And Steve was actually like videotaping as they were going through the boat. So you kind of got a quick look at how Brian and Lynette Hooker were living on board this boat. But it was hard to kind of see a lot of it, but I want to play that for you now, because what I'm going to do is you're going to see the way Brian and Lynette were on board this boat. Then I'm going to take you on a tour inch by inch.
I will tell you guys, it is close quarters, okay? These are boats. They're not houses. They're what people live on. This boat here, I believe, is about 10 feet smaller than my aunt and uncle's boat. But it's the same gist, you know. When you have a houseboat, a boxy houseboat, you got a lot more living space. But you also have a lot more costs that are affiliated with those boats because they run predominantly all on gas or fuel of some sort, okay? They are not designed for wind. These boats here are more economical as far as cost because when you're sailing, you're not using fuel. The wind, you're adjusting your sails. So the wind is your power for your boat. And you've got the steering wheel that you're still, you know, driving the boat, but it's not using fuel. It's not using other types of costly products to move. Okay, any other house other than a sailboat, it is all gas or some type of fuel. There is no natural propulsion. You know, you're not going to be propelled forward any other way except by motor. This, you've got your sails, so a little bit different. And so when you're in a sailboat, unfortunately, much smaller quarters. When you're on an actual houseboat, you've got, you know, that luxury living room and normal size bedrooms, and it's like literally a house on the water. This ain't it, okay? So don't be shocked, but you got to remember these people live minimalists lifestyles on these sailboats.
Because I have the video from the dock, stepping on board, everything on the deck, everything down below. And there's some fascinating stuff that you're going to enjoy. Now, I mean, honest to God. And the way...
But the one thing I do not notice on any of this, and this is going to be important, was the bright light. There was a bright light on this boat at 7:47. I mean, bright, so bright that you could literally see it looked like almost like a light explosion on the boat at 7:47 from across lubbers. But I'm not seeing any on the back end of this boat, because that's what we were seeing, was the back end of the boat, not the front end, because of the way the current was. And I don't see any of these, you know, automatic lights attached to anything back here. So it might be someplace else, but I just thought I would point that out to you, because we're trying to explain. I keep wondering, is that 747, was that the first flare? Could the flare have made that bright light that just lasted for like a minute and then fizzled? Like, I feel like that's what it was. I don't feel like it was this automatic light that came on. But I don't know. I
know that the boat you're about to see is the boat that belongs to Brian and Lynette Hooker. We double, triple, quadruple, quintuple confirmed it. Number one, the HIN number matches. These are all nautical terms. We've checked this with an expert in boating who has told us the HIN number of Brian and Lynette's boat matches.
What is that? Okay, that looks like something for the line.
Is the boat that I'm going to tour you through. Number
Sorry,
two.
I'm just trying to take and look at every little thing. I know we're listening to Ashley Banfield's statements and stuff, but I'm just looking
the hull idea
at every little aspect of this boat. We're looking for, I mean, obviously there's plenty of rope, right? We can see plenty of rope on this boat. So, we're missing a lady. We got to be mindful of what can disappear a lady.
ID, they're the same on both boats. Number three, the call signs are the same.
That looks like some type of gas. What is this? Let's see what this is. What is this? Inflation instructions. So this must be their inflatable boat, like an emergency. This is something inflatable. Yeah, it's an inflatable life raft. Okay, so now we see that there's an inflatable life raft on. So this is pretty interesting. So they have an inflatable life raft on their boat. This is before they bought it. Remember, things were added and changed. No, this is I think this might be the most recent, because when they bought this boat, my understanding was that it was in disrepair. It was in disrepair, and they had to work on the boat for months before it was sail ready. Once the boat got into the water, they were ready. They fixed it up. But I remember that, 'cause I saw some videos of them fixing it up. So that's a life raft.
On board.
Inflatable life raft.
Soulmate, Brian and Lynette's boat, and the boat that I'm going to tour you through. Number four, the MMSI matches. Those numbers also match. Again,
I wonder what that is. I don't know what that would be.
I don't know what these are, but they're technical and they matter and they match. But the thing for me, like totally sold me on, oh my God, the boat that we're about to get a tour of is Brian and Lynette's boat, because there's a doohickey on the bow. That's a technical term for an adornment. There's two dolphins, like a statue of two dolphins, affixed to the front of the bow of Lynette and Brian's boat.
So they have a doohickey. I always wondered what a doohickey was. I thought it was just something country folks made up. But now it's official. We now know what a doohickey is. I've been saying doohickey for 46 years and never knew that there was really a doohickey. Now we know that there's a doohickey. Well, God bless America. Well, looky, Mr. Sethy Seth. Oh, be Betty fan. It's nice to see you, love bug. I hope you're doing well. Good morning, Seth. I hope you're doing well. Carol, good morning. The boat we are seeing is before Brian and Lynette bought it. Okay, good. Okay, well, I don't know. I don't know one way or another. You guys see what I'm listening to, right? She hasn't said, and I'm skipping all over this video, so I haven't heard her say that. But if that's the case, that's the case. It's not really for me, it's not a big deal, one way or another. But I think what's interesting is now we officially know what a doohickey is. There's a doohickey right there. Over the fly bridge. Doohickey. That's funny. I know. Well, the reason why hey, Autumn, it's nice to see you. Dirty boy, good morning. Maury, nice to see you. The reason why I'm saying is because my whole life I've said doohickey. What's this doohickey? I never knew. I just thought it was an inanimate object. I didn't know that a doohickey really was a doohickey. Like we have a doohickey. I feel so dumb this morning. Never stop learning, folks. I think we've learned that. Hey, Lori, it's nice to see you. She will tell you already watched it. She will tell you already watched it. Yeah, she can tell. Yeah, we can tell she already. The ugly dolphin statue. Well, it doesn't matter if it's ugly. We still finally officially decided that a doohickey is a real thing. I'm just still in shock here. 46 years. I'm having palpitations over this, folks. I didn't know a doohickey was a doohickey. Damn it.
Term for
I want to hear it again. Let's do it again.
On Oh My God, the boat that we're about to get a tour of is Brian and Lynette's boat because there's a doohickey on the bow. That's a technical term for an adornment. There's
Let's do that again.
dolphins, like a statue of
Let's
two
do that
dolphins
again. I want to hear it again. I
affixed
want to hear
to
it.
the
I'm
front
sorry, Ashley. I'm sorry. I got to pick on you.
term.
Okay, I'm sorry. We did this for the potted flowers. We're going to do it for the doohickey. We get to watch Ashley Banfield say doohickey. Let's listen just one more time, folks. Just one more time, okay? I know this is a serious story, but come on, one more time. One more time. I mean, it's Ashley Banfield, okay? She's saying doohickey. Let's watch it again, okay? And then we'll get off of it, I promise.
Because there's a doohickey on the bow. That's a technical term for an adornment.
Okay, I'm done.
There's two dolphins, like a statue of two dolphins, affixed to the front.
It's
of
too
the
early,
bow
Bruce says.
of Lynette and Brian's boat, and the boat I'm about to tour you on. So 5 different ways.
Now, I don't know. It looks like the doohickey's still there. I don't know. It looks like she's out here in the Bahamas. I don't think this is before Carol. I think you might be inaccurate on this. I might be wrong, but it looks like she's showing the boat as it is out there in the Bahamas when she saw it. So this would have had to have been potentially. I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't know. Or maybe she's bouncing back between them. Maybe because we saw the hand. You know, that hand did not look like Carly's hand. It looked like somebody else's hand. So maybe we're going back and forth. Maybe the whole doohickey was the old. I don't know.
To prove that the boat I'm about to show you.
No, they got the doohickey. There's the doohickey right there. Out there in the Bahamas. This is the doohickey from the Bahamas. I don't know if it's the doohickey before they purchased it. But we see the doohickey. Watch, every person in chat is going to today. Some part of today, I guarantee, doohickey is going to fall out of the mouths of about half of my audience. Somewhere today, somebody is going to be saying doohickey. I guarantee it. No, she's switching back and forth. Okay, thanks, Carol. We appreciate it. We appreciate it. We appreciate it. They doohickey is like a bruise on your neck. Nah, doohickey is a thing I don't know the name for. From the doohickey to deflowering. Oh, good gracious. We're crazy on this channel. What is wrong with us? We're going straight to double E hockey sticks. All right, HE double hockey sticks. There we go. E double hockey stick. Okay, let's get back. So we now officially know what a doohickey is. I need to get off the doohickey.
You is Brian and Lynette.
That even sounds awful. I need to get off the doohickey.
Became soulmate before they bought it in Texas. This was the boat. So I'm going to show that to you in a moment. But first, I want you to see Steve and Carly's video that they gave.
Okay, so it looks like we're going to get both of them. It looks like we're going to get the Steve and Carly's video and the boat video before. So thank you, Carol, for pointing that out to us. We appreciate you.
Gave to us of them boarding soulmate to get Mom's personal effects
Thank
and kind of
you,
take
Janie.
a quick look around. Take a look.
Welcome.
You sure there's nothing else up front? You're just looking for little knickknacks, baby.
It's just a bunch of shit.
Okay, I'm just looking like
Oh, you can hear Carly
any
so.
books or any.
You can hear Carly back there just, oh, that breaks my heart. That breaks my, actually, it's actually a lot more, I thought it was going to be a lot more complicated. It does look like they got some things stacked up. So they do have quite a lot more items than I would have expected. But look at that. They have it's their living room is their bedroom. They just pop everything up and it turns into a bed. And it looks like they have a bedroom that they're using for a storage room, possibly. But that's pretty, I mean, the downstairs actually looks a lot more roomy than I thought it would be.
You sure there's nothing else up front? You're just looking for little knickknacks, baby.
It's just a bunch of shit.
Oh, just a bunch of shit, she says. And look at that, Corona. They didn't even finish the case of their Corona. So we know what kind of beer they like. They like Corona. People don't have boxes of beer like Corona on their boat unless that's what they drink. If you would have come on a boat with me and my ex-husband, you would see Bud Light. You wouldn't see Corona. You'd see Bud Light. So let's keep going.
Okay, I'm just looking like
you can see she's upset. You can hear she's upset. And it looks like they got some stuff that her mom wore on her head. This has got to be so hard.
any books or any. What about the Bahama thing there, or this? Oh, there you go.
Oh, that looks like a storage unit, a storage room.
I know, baby. I know.
Oh, she's just upset. Look at all the ropes. Hold on. Whoa. Let's look at this. What do we got up on the... Hold on. Let me look at this a little bit. Well, they definitely have some stuff back here. Okay, this is a fairly stocked storage unit. Could there be something of weight back here that was back here? I believe so. Looks like they got some tools, boxes. You see jugs and buckets and God knows what's in them. So do we have weights on this boat that even not theoretic weights, boat weights? Do we have other things that can weigh? The answer is yes. Look at this. Like you got this right here. This can be filled with water. There's a lot of jugs that can be filled with water that will help, or sand or dirt or something to help. Hey, Straw Birdie. It's nice to see you, love. I hope you're doing well. Shaman, it's nice. Is it Charmin? Nice to see you, Charmin Clean. Hello. Thank you for that. Aw, thank you. I got the floating heart and the Sunday. We appreciate you. Thank you. It is sad because you hear the pain in her daughter's voice. I can't imagine being her daughter. You know, just the heartbreak of never being able to see my mom again. I got to tell you, if I don't know how I'd act. I don't know how I would act. but I can tell you a lot of people deal with their emotions a lot better than I might be dealing with my emotions, you know? There's a lot of stuff here. We got life preservers out there. One thing they have a lot of, and they got plants on the boat, aloe plants on the boat. That's good for your skin, sunburns and stuff like that. But I'm not seeing anything major, like, you know, like a major anchor or weight that's observable.
I know.
Or you know, stuff that's... Oh, look at this! Barbells! Barbells, folks! We've got barbells on the boat. We've got barbells on the boat. Barbells typically come in sets. What about the ice chest? Yes, but we're looking at ropes and observable barbells on the boat? Who the hell's using barbells? You guys see that? That's a 10. Where's the 5? Where's the 20? You're not seeing it anymore. This is the kind of stuff I'm looking for right here. Weights. These are literally weights. This is 20 pounds right here. So we do have a set of barbells, 10s. Where's the 5s and where's the 20s? So let's keep going. Because there's a lot of rope on here. So there's no shortage of rope. They've got plenty of rope on this boat. But I've never seen... My uncle didn't have barbells on his boat. This is just weird. Could have had anything. Yeah, they could. Anything could be used as a weight. But look at that. 2 barbells sitting right out there. Just right out there. And 10s are weird because, like, for me... I didn't do 10s. I did 2s and 5s to tone my arms. 2s and 5s. You don't want a lot of weight, you know, for anything. And it didn't seem like he seemed like I don't see him using barbells, and I don't see her using 10s. Like, I would see her using 2s or 5s for toning purposes. Why would you have 10s? I don't own a 10. I didn't own a 20. Mine were always 2s and 5s because they tone the best. Barbells, weight something down. Yeah, I don't like this. But we do, they're matching. We do have both of them, though. But usually, I would assume that if there's these on the board, there might be more. Those look old, too. They look like they're from a set. Those don't look like something you buy separately, because usually I can buy ones that are separated. Like, I can find just the 2s and just the 5s, because I had them. I don't know where they are. I might have given them a Goodwill, because I didn't use them after, but I remember they were up on the shelf there, so I might have already packed them up. But I did have 2 sets of 2s. Wonder if the barbells are missing. That's what I'm thinking. Is there more than just these 10s that were on that boat? I mean, this is the first time I've seen anything with, you know, some type of weight. This is interesting.
I know.
Look at all that. Somebody was going through that sack. Look at all that rope. Look at all that stuff taken out of that sack. I don't know. I don't know. They had plenty of rope, and clearly they've got some weight on that boat.
Okay, so clear.
And I could see a microphone, so they must have had this set up with Carly before, because you can see her microphone box is clipped on the back of her pants, and it's a professional microphone, one that you would get from an Ashley Banfield production.
Clearly, Carly is very upset, understandably. I mean, she's trying to get personal effects. It's a bit of a mess on board. They're looking where they can and getting what they can of Carly's mom's.
I feel like that he went through that boat. You remember he was on the boat for a couple days before he went to land too. So Looks like a set. It does look like a set. The two 10s were there, so it's not like we only have a 10 pound barbell. But usually, when I bought sets of barbells like the soft ones individually. But typically, you buy the barbells, like whenever I had barbells before, it was a set that you purchased. You purchased the whole set. And it wasn't just that, like you got the bench bar, and then you got the individual ones, and you kind of interchanged all of the things. But this is just the barbells. But even with them, you usually have the set. I don't know. You can buy them individually, so I don't want to imply that you can only get them in a set. It just seems odd that they would have 10s, versus a 5 or the 20s.
Special precious things like her headscarves. That was important to Carly, and you could see that in Steve's hand at one point. He's holding the collection of Carly's mom's headscarves, of Lynette's headscarves. The blue Conch Republic one is not among them, which I was fiercely interested in because she was wearing that in her last photo at the Abaco Inn. We also can't see in that.
So one thing I did observe is it doesn't look like her dry bag's there. It doesn't look like the fanny pack's there. And it doesn't look like some of the stuff that she was wearing, the green shirt, the blue conch tie for her hair. And, just it seems like there are some things that are missing, and it makes you wonder why.
Very sort of frantic camera motions. We can't see anything that resembled the aqua-colored bathing suit cover-up that Lynette was also wearing in the last picture we saw.
So the only thing that we have to confirm Lynette went back to that boat is her watch. And I'm starting to believe that they got into a fight almost immediately getting on board, because I believe that first flash, like I looked all over that boat, I did not see any automatic lighting on that boat. Now I could be wrong, because automatic lighting's so much different than these days. They have more compact lights than they did when I was growing up. There's just a lot of different nuances, especially with those lights. The LED, that's a game changer. You can have more compact and more brightness with the LED lights than we've ever had before, and they don't even use half the electricity as normal bulbs. It's just an amazing product. The LED is an amazing product. So, there could be something that I'm just not observing, but, we had that big flash. It was almost a flash that lasted about a minute or a little less when they arrived at 7:47 at night on the 4th. And my issue is that looked like a flare gone off, because a flare burns for a little bit of time before it, and that's what I was looking for, Rue, was the solar lights, because typically they would use solar lights more so than anything. I just threw the last of the solar light away. It was, starting to flicker. I've had it for, 6 years now, and the sun has just decimated it, but it was still working. It was just flashing, and I got sick and tired of walking out and feeling like I was in a club, the strobe lighting as you walk out of the house. So I finally threw them away. I got to order another pair, and they're solar, and they're bright. They're really bright, but they're pretty obvious too. But I didn't see any lighting on the outside of that house. I mean, I know they have lighting on the outside, but I didn't see that bright light that we observed yesterday or the day before yesterday when we looked at the lovers' quarters. That's all.
Saw of her, nor could I see a black fanny pack. But that may be because the video that Carly and Steve were showing us didn't incorporate the other parts, like the back bathroom and the back cabin where they slept. There's a lot that's missing. So in the video I'm going to show you, you're going to see every inch of this boat. And there's so much to tell you about, but I'm going to tell you about it all the way through. But this is courtesy of Boat Snoop, a YouTube channel, Boat Snoop, the inside snoop on boats. It's hosted by Clint Johnson, and wouldn't you know it, the boat that he decided to feature was the boat that would be sold to Brian and Lynette Hooker. which they would then...
This is the first time I'm hearing it. It says the sail mast pole has a built-in flare system. Interesting. I've never heard that before. Yeah, I think the mangroves will be... She's got to be fairly close. I mean, an hour away, and an hour away on the dinghy, in my opinion. I don't think he moved the sailboat. But we also have to remember the Coast Guard right now is, as I reported last night, they're searching for the people that were moored right around that soulmate on the 4th. Who was there? They're searching for the owners. So if the owners are watching, if you know who Lynette and Brian Hooker are, or you remember parking or mooring next to the soulmate on Easter weekend, please reach out to the U.S. Coast Guard. They've got some questions for you. They'd like to know who you are, but I have to think that they couldn't moor without having some type of documentation from it. So I'm pretty sure that they can subpoena the records of Marsh Harbor to find out who was anchored next to the soulmate and get them, contacted to find out what they saw. But according to Ashley Banfield, multiple people, and I mean multiple people, saw this flare go off at the soulmate around 8 o'clock. And I'm hearing it was only one. So I think that 747, I think that was the first flare gun. I think the 8 p.m. was the second. That's what I truly believe. Because when you see it, we'll have to go back to it, but it was a large flash. It was so bright. Like, it just, to me, wasn't screaming, security light. It was bright. It was really, really bright. And it was noticeably bright. I think she misspoke. I think that was the first flare, because he said he shot off 2 flares and only one of the flares was in the boat. So I believe that 747 was the first flare. I'm starting to believe that, at least. Until we hear something else. Maybe we've got something else. Hi, Flight. It's nice to see you. That was crazy. All those beautiful buildings in the area were destroyed in the hurricane. Yeah. But, that's what I'm talking about. And, Ashley brought up a great point, because people, they work in environments that they're comfortable in and they know. And if they were over there exploring these lands and know that there's no habitation there, that's going to be a perfect thing. And that's going to come to top of mind too. When he's jammed up, it's going to pop into the top of mind. Oh, I remember this place. I remember exploring. Like, nobody was there. We were the only people on that island, right? So she has a point. I think that the exploration of land masses need to be going on. I don't think she's in the water. I think if this lady's in the water, she's weighted down. That's the only explanation. But at this moment, a month later, even if she was weighted down, portions of her should start breaking apart and coming to the surface, including her bathing suit, her cover, or her hairdress.
Name soulmate. So let's take a look at Clint Johnson's video.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Boat Snoop. I'm your host, Clint Johnson. And today what we have a Morgan 461 sailing sloop. And these are real neat boats.
This is interesting. I have already learned something that I didn't know. And that is that this is a Morgan 461 sailing sloop. I was given bad intelligence that it was a ketch. It's a sloop. So 46-foot sloop. I should have seen that.
I don't know the difference. I don't think anybody in the channel knows the difference, but it's a sailboat to us.
Because the sloop usually goes kind of up on the front and the back, and I didn't notice that when I was frantically videotaping it and circling it before. I
wouldn't know one way or another.
I'm a sailor, but I'm not great. But now I know it's a 46-foot Morgan sailing sloop. Okay, carry on, Clint.
There's a couple of things I want to point out that are not regular. One of them kind of found on the outside, electronics-wise, that I mean, you hear about them, but most of them don't have it. And then something down inside that, for most sailboats, it's spectacular.
Oh, wait! Clint just said so.
And you notice that the dinghy is already on the front of that boat, so I don't even think they purchased the dinghy separately. I think it came with the boat.
Something that was really important. He said that this was something special. You know, the electronics on board this boat were really special.
This is interesting because I heard they had to fix that do a lot of repairs to this boat to get it ready. Just what we heard at the beginning, you know, we're still we're still piecing the pieces together.
That's important because not every sailboat like this has like fabulous electronics. They have lots, but for him who knows boating to really emphasize that, wow, you're going to see electronics. Well, that's important because electronics have been a big part of the story of Brian and Lynette Hooker and whether or not Brian ever made it back on that boat with Lynette. Instead of the story that he told us was she bounced off the dinghy back there and I floated to Marsh Harbor and we never made it back to Soulmate. So carry on, Clint Johnson.
So anyway, just want to start off. We'll take a look at this boat. There's
the doohickey.
Are quite literally they're built like battleships. The owner of this boat quite literally told me, he said, Clint, he goes, the hull in some areas is like up to 3 inches thick. And I don't know if that goes across the whole thing or anything like that, but they're, I mean, just huge, heavy blue water boats. And these guys have literally come from Central America here just recently back here to Florida. It's all rigged and ready to go. And they are just large vessels. Starting off with this boat, it's not something that came with the boat.
There's a light.
These hard tops, I've seen.
There's the light. There's the first time I see a freaking bright ass light. This right here is a very bright light. I can tell just even as small as it is, there's a bright light right there, folks. There's a bright light. So now the question is, why did these lights come on? I finally found the first bright light. Let's keep going.
Pictures and things of some people building these on here. This has been built and added to this boat, and it's hugely, highly desirable. You don't end up replacing canvas all.
Yeah, you can see that the dinghy on this boat is is a hard bottom. So it looks like they got this dinghy with this boat. I bet you that's the dinghy right there. I bet you that's still the dinghy that they're using to this day, because that's a hard bottom dinghy.
But we'll get to all that when we get up on the boat.
Oh, that dinghy. I cannot wait because the dinghy actually came with the boat. And we are going to see a little bit more of the dinghy in just a hot minute, but we actually looked to make sure that it is the same dinghy, and it is. The manufacturer is a Boss dinghy, and we've told you about that before. They're no longer making that dinghy, but now we know. Brian and Lynette did not go and buy that dinghy. It came with this boat, this Boss hard hulled dinghy. It's not.
And it's unsinkable. That's what we've learned. This dinghy that they are in is an unsinkable dinghy.
Rubber. It's not bouncy. She bounced off the back of the boat. It ain't bouncy. It's a hard hull, pontoony kind of dinghy. And you're going to get a tour of it in a moment. Pay attention to the exterior lights when you see them.
We are.
You're going to see some lights all around. And I don't even think these are the lights that Brian and Lynette ended up adding to Soulmate. But
we're paying attention, Ashley. Don't worry. We got you.
All right, let's get up on this boat. All right, now that I've got up here.
There's that hard dinghy. Look at the hard bottom.
Tour of the top sides. This specific owner actually has a hard dinghy, and he says it's isolated different areas in it, so even if you took water in certain areas, the thing would still stay afloat.
Unsinkable.
A dinghy by a company called Boss.
There it is. Boss.
Roller furling Genoa, 2 anchors.
2 anchors.
I kind of like on this boat that
the dolphins.
They have the dolphins.
That was it. If you look at the video that we shot of Soulmate in Marsh Harbor sitting on the mooring ball that they've been renting at the Conch Inn, guess what you can see? The dolphin. So all of those other ways that we identified the boat, you know, the HIN number, the hull ID, the MMSI, the call signs, all those things, awesome. But It's the dolphins for me.
Right.
This is their boat because that's an unusual thing to have, I don't know, soldered onto the front of your boat. It's almost like the old ships where they used to have the mermaids.
It looks like it's already
out the
patining.
front. That's what that felt like to me. But I don't often see hood ornaments like that on a sailboat. Maybe I just missed them, but
It's a
that's what I-
doohickey.
Quick word from my sponsor. When was the last time you
It's
actually
a
went to the
doohickey. It's a doohickey.
too hard 50 states within dock today? Again, that flash.
Up here. Electric windlass. Foot pedals for the electric windlass.
Oh, super important part right there. Electric windlass, foot pedals for the electric windlass. If you are not a sailor, that might have just gone by like, I don't know what that is. So that is a super important part of anchoring. Typically, someone's going to be back there at the helm driving, and someone else is going to be up at the front using those foot pedals to get the anchor up or down. And the windlass is what brings the anchor up or down. Here's the thing. It's real hard to do that if you're solo handling the boat. And
See, that's what makes me. This statement that Ashley's about to explain right here is exactly why I think it would have been impossible or next to impossible for Brian to take the soulmate that evening. So his mode of transportation would not have been soulmate. It would have been a paddleboard. It would have been the dinghy, but not the soulmate, not the boat. It would have been too difficult for him to unanchor. It would have been too difficult for him to navigate that boat by himself or try to anchor it back up to the mooring ball when he got back. So I truly don't believe he took soulmate out to hide her, which this is good information, because if he didn't take the soulmate, that means he was limited on the areas he could go because the dinghy can only handle so much water. Okay, the dinghy can go around and the dinghy is not fast. So you're talking about a man having to move around with most likely a lifeless body in the middle of the night around people that could have seen him. So we have to put those elements into this entire scenario because they're legitimate elements to have. What happened to Lynette Hooker? And does this help identify maybe some areas? I think it does, because this prevents us from being able to take the boat out into like international waters, into that 100 feet depth type water areas or other areas like that. I think, and that's a good sign, because in my opinion, it pushes her on land more than in the water. And I think that is where we believe at least the majority of us might, I wouldn't even say the majority of it, at least a few of us believe she might be. I believe she might be on land, and we've talked about that because, again, we're missing an oar. We're trying to identify how the oar disappeared, just a lot of different things. So could that explain it? Maybe. But let's go back just a few seconds.
Or down. And the windlass is what brings the anchor up or down. Here's the thing. It's real hard to do that if you're solo handling the boat. And Brian Hooker talks about solo handling the boat a couple of times after Lynette goes, missing.
Ooh.
It's almost impossible to operate that windlass and get the anchor up and then drive the boat back or drive it forward to, release your anchor from whatever it's hooked on down below. And so that's why he was saying, I'm having trouble. I need someone to help me get the boat off the hook at the anchorage, at Aunt Pat's Bay off of Elbow Key, because Lynette wasn't there to be up operating that windlass, operating that anchor up and down while he's at the helm. So
I think that this is, this case is not a good case. So I'm not saying that this is good as far as the case. I think overall we're in a horrible case, but I think that this is good information in part that at least it makes it more difficult for him to have moved the sailboat. It's important for that sailboat to stay there, because if the sailboat stays there, then the areas that Lynette could be at are much different than where they could be at if he had the boat. He only had a dinghy or a paddleboard. We can't forget He has paddle boards on deck as well. They have paddle boards. So could somebody be draped over a paddleboard and taken and shimmied off on a paddleboard? Yes. Yes, they got ropes. They can drag. There's ways he could have done this. And never forget, he is military. That means he's taught to think outside the box and use whatever they have around them to make do. So he's already got the mentality.
Let's keep going.
So the first item, I'll get right to it. This boat, I know you can't really see it, but it's up there. Maybe I can zoom this in a little bit. It has a flare system, and for those of you who don't know what a flare system is, it allows you to see at night. And it's a camera, and you can see it on a readout down below.
A flare system, but it doesn't seem like a flare system like what we're thinking of, because they're talking about a readout. Oh, let's listen to this. This must be FLIR system. FLIR, not flare. FLIR. So it sounds the same, but it's different. Let's listen to what this is. Hold on.
I know you can't really see it, but it's up there. Maybe I can zoom this in a little bit. It has a flare system, and for those of you who don't know what a flare system is, it allows you to see at night. And it's a camera, and you can see it on a readout down below. And so if you were coming into, dark areas at night or whatever, or look, there's a vessel far off at night, even pitch black, or close to pitch black, you can actually zoom in, take a look, and it effectively gives you night vision, which is really cool feature.
So he had night vision. He could have turned that night vision on to see who was up around him at night. That is interesting. But you know what else I noticed? Look at those bright lights out the front. Look at those speakers. He's got a loud horn too.
Not common on sailboats. I've heard of it, of course. But another thing I wanted to point out is these actually slide open on both sides. I'm not going to slide them all the way open, but so you can still get airflow in there. Wow. So you have the advantage of it being hard. You're really well protected, but at the same time, you can slide them open and get airflow.
I want to point out this engine on the back. That engine on the back, that would be the engine that you would put on the transom of the dinghy. And that one looks to me to be, I don't know, maybe like a 10 horsepower.
That is a big old frickin'... That's too heavy for the dinghy, in my opinion. That's a heavy frickin' motor for a dinghy. I'm sorry.
Or maybe a 6 horsepower, I don't know. But that would, motor you around using fuel. Probably some kind of a mix with oil and fuel, so you could drive your dinghy around. But Brian and Lynette did not choose to use an engine like that. They
I wouldn't have either.
Ended up with an electric engine, the kind that you charge. They're kind of rare. I'm not going to lie. I've never seen one. And
you could tell they really tried very hard not to use gas or spend money on gas. They had the solar panels. They had a lot of stuff to solar power their stuff. It seemed like they were really trying to do this as cost effective as possible.
So when we first started covering this story and he was talking about Lynette went out with the kill switch, I thought, bullshit, she did. You only put a kill switch on your wrist if you're alone on a jet ski or on a vessel, so your vessel doesn't take off without you.
Oh, she makes a point. They didn't even have this type of motor on the back of the boat. Would she have had a key that could have been, I don't know, maybe.
You don't want to take the power with you because, you want them to come back and get you. They should be under power to come back and get you.
That didn't make sense either.
This is a center cockpit boat, so the nice advantage to that is that any big following seas, waves from coming from the stern, even if they were to crash up on the deck a little bit, you're way up here, you're way up there, you're all protected. Also, the rocking of the boat, you're not at the farthest end, you're not up at the bow, it's going to rise more at the aft and the stern, and it's going to rise more. It's a lot more gentle when you're protected here in these center cockpits. So
Interesting.
Huge advantage. This boat, she has a radar mounted back here.
Radar.
She has the thin solar panels.
So we know that these are solar panels now. We've identified those being solar panels, and we know that they put like a 3-panel on the side of their boat as well.
Wind generator.
Wind generator. So they got wind and generation.
Motor for the dinghy. Nice Nissan 8-horse.
8-horse.
You got a life sling right here that you can throw over just in case somebody fell over, and some really solid dinghy davits for the dinghy.
So that's to pull their dinghy up and down, get their dinghy up and down.
It does come with an inflatable life raft.
Wait a minute. They've got that life thing on board Soulmate. I don't know if they kept it there when they bought the boat. They may not have, but let's not forget, Brian's story is that they were on the dinghy and that he threw a floaty at her, like something you swim with, a little foamy that you swim with. It's not a life preserver.
It's not. It's a garden mat. You sit on it to do gardening.
But I'm not sure that thing, even though it sounds like, ooh, that could be a clue, I'm not so sure it could be.
By Revere.
I don't know if they would have taken that off. That seems like something that they would have probably kept on the boat. Just, I don't know if I would have taken it off as, being a boat person, because that is a vital piece of equipment if you start sinking. I'm sorry, but I don't know. Just my opinion.
And on this boat, going to the master aft stateroom, there is an entrance. You can open this up, pull this off, and it will slide, and you can actually enter through the aft and as well as up through the cockpit.
Okay, I want to stop there for a minute.
Interesting.
Because all the way along, the fire and rescue guys have told us that they pulled up next to Soulmate the morning that all this awfulness happened overnight. And they've got Brian on board. They've rescued him from his, I've been marooned on Marsh Harbor. And they brought him back for the first time back to Soulmate. And they pulled up next to Soulmate, and Brian got out.
Oh, that's how Carol knew, because now I see the hand and the watch. Okay, that's how she knew that this was going back and forth. Gotcha, Carol. Thank you for pointing that out, though.
Out onto the back here. And so did one of the police officers.
Well, hold on, let's listen to what she just said.
And they pulled up next to Soulmate, and Brian got out onto the back here, and so did one of the police officers with him. And then he was mucking around in the back. I think that might be where he is mucking around, that entrance that he was just saying to the master cabin.
Because it's right there in the back to the dinghy. So he has these divots. Look at this, folks. I want to explain this to you. Let me go back to the spot. I want to explain this to you. So these are the things that pull up the dinghy, right? These arms here are what pulls up the dinghy. This right here, you hook your dinghy up. It brings the dinghy up to the boat. Think about it. He could have loaded the dinghy up with Lynette and tried to get her in the water, but it was too heavy. So he used the oar under the hard bottom boat to help get it back over the water so he could drop it down and maybe snap the oar. But either way, he could have loaded Lynette up on that boat, put her in that dinghy, and dropped the dinghy in the water. With this setup right here, these right here. This is for their dinghy. This is to get the dinghy up out of the water. This whole system here. This is the dinghy system. This is the dinghy system. Think about it. He could have easily had the dinghy up on it goes on the boat. It's not dragged behind the boat. It's stored on the boat. So now he's got the dinghy out of the water and on his boat. He just unalived. This is all hypothetical. Okay, I'm not accusing or anything like that. We're walking through it. We're playing this scenario through. Okay, so they have the dinghy up on the boat. He kills Lynette. Now he has a body. What is he going to do? He's going to load it in that dinghy and drop that dinghy in the water. Hell, even with these ropes, he could have just tied up to Lynette and dropped her in the water with just the ropes. But if we believe that this boat didn't move, then we know that she's not in the water behind this boat. So that means he would have had to move her away from this boat. What would have been the easiest way? We are all looking for a way to transport. And here we go. He literally has a hoist for the dinghy, brings the dinghy up on the boat, loads her into the dinghy, and drops her off the back end. And then he loads up into the boat and takes her wherever he needs to take her. Is it possible? Yeah, damn right it's possible.
For the dinghy.
Look at that, for the dinghy.
It does come with an inflatable life raft.
Okay, so we're past this. Let's keep going.
Brian's story is that's important. So this guy, Clint Johnson, knows his stuff. He's talking about the solar panels on board this boat as being so sophisticated and updated and strong that this boat doesn't even need to plug into the power on the dock to be, to have power, because we don't really have much on the solar. No. He's saying the solar panels are so good that they don't even need to plug in on the dock, which tells me that if the power went out, or if Brian Hooker's boat
they wouldn't be without
offline,
power,
say at 9:30 at night, and then came back online at 8:30 in the morning, it probably isn't a power event, because the solar panels are so good, they don't even need shore power.
And not only that, folks, they had, not only in addition to those thin panels that we just saw that were powering the boat, we also saw them hook up 3 additional solar panels. That whole entire boat was powered without any electricity, all by solar and wind. All by solar and wind. So we have lights going on the boat. We finally found the bright lights. Those bright lights that I saw could make that illumination that I saw. They're the kind of lights that could make that. So we've got the light source at 747, at least identified in my mind. Now we have to determine how all this happened. And we just found that they have a hoist to bring their dinghy up to the boat and drop it down to the water. That is, in my estimation, what we have. I hope they forensically tested the dinghy. The forensics in that dinghy are probably going to be important, not because I believe she fell off the dinghy, because I do believe she was transported to her final resting place inside that dinghy. I think he had to use the dinghy to transport her. And I think that would have been the path of least resistance for him. And we're always looking for the path of least resistance when we're dealing with criminals. I think we found it.
So it's probably not a power event as to why the boat suddenly went out of range of the satellites. It could be a couple things, as has been explained to me. Could be cloud cover, but that's not usually 11 hours, right? Could be a problem with the satellites, but then everybody would be out. More often than not, you turn it off and you turn it back on. That's how it was explained to me. And so, or your power goes out. And if your power goes out, then of course you lose connectivity to the satellites as well. But power going out, looks like this solar power was second to none. Let's keep going.
Here we have the helm station. And this boat, it has an autopilot right here on the wheel. He said this was like the original when he bought the boat that came with it. But he also has a Raymarine hydraulic autopilot, so he effectively has a backup. So he generally runs the hydraulic, but because they were cruisers and they cruised a lot, and that was like, a third crewman, if something did go wrong,
all right, let's go back just a little bit.
He can always default back.
Let's go back just a little bit.
Cruised a lot, so he effectively has a backup.
Let's go back to
autopilot right here on the wheel. He said this was like the original when he bought the boat.
Now again, I'm not hook, line, and sinker in that this vessel here moved at all during Lynette's disappearance. Okay, I don't think that the soulmate could have moved. I think if the soulmate moved, we would have evidence that it moved on the video from the people that gave the video from Lovers that viewed the one we saw yesterday or the day before yesterday. We'll go back to that. But we had the view from Lovers to Aunt Pat's Bay, and we identified which vessel was the soulmate. And you saw a bunch of activity from 747, which is perfect because that 747 time frame identifies perfectly, almost to the minutes, from how long it would have taken them to leave Abaco to get to their vessel. It was 15 to 17 minutes. And so they were there by 747. Or at least the light event went on their boat at 7:47, identifying potentially they got back to the boat. I feel like if that boat had left, we would have seen it leave on the video. We didn't see it leave. What we did see happen is light phenomenons happen on the boat. We saw at 12:30, it looked like somebody walking around the boat with a flashlight. So that's concerning for me. That to me feels like Brian is there manufacturing, disposing of evidence and manufacturing an alibi.
That came with it, but he also has a Raymarine hydraulic autopilot, so he effectively has a backup.
Ooh!
So he generally runs
autopilot and autopilot.
But because they were cruisers and they cruised a lot, and that was like, you know, a third crewman, if something did go wrong, he could always default back to this one as a backup. So nice electric. So
they didn't even need to navigate their own boat. They could have set course and put the autopilot on and just relaxed and enjoyed the trip. That's awesome. I mean, it seems like right now they've already got a pretty sophisticated boat, even without him geeking out and putting additional stuff on it. So this is really informative.
Electronics on this boat with Raymarine. That right there, that is the autopilot. Raymarine radio, really nice unit. Really large and protected.
If he used poison fluid found on the boat, that's possible. But I think he's a strangler. I think the issue with Brian is that we've already identified the kind of abuser he is, and it's very, very concerning because he's a strangler. Okay, so that he likes asphyxiation. That seems like what it's been. You know, even Carly talked about an event that happened to her stepsister, Brian's 12-year-old daughter at the time. He yokes her up by her neck. They had to go to court. She had to testify. Her father got out of it. Her stepfather got out of it. But at the end of the day, we understand the type of abuser he is. There's some people that like to hit, smack, punch, shove, use verbal abuse, mental abuse, sexual abuse. There's all different types of abuses out there. But this guy was a asphyxiator type of abuser. So is there other types of abuse? Yeah, I'm sure there is. But it seems to me that he has a problem with yoking people up by their neck. So I don't think poison would be his forte. I think that his history, his past behavior show he's an asphyxiator. And I expect him to I expect that to be her cause of death if and when she's found.
Nice isinglass that's protected by canvas, also can roll up so you can get more airflow on those really nice days. There's another Raymarine unit up here. I did forget
another unit.
Take it off, but look at that, guys. Really large hybrid touch unit.
This is all the
Guessing
stuff.
that maybe.
This is all the stuff that the boat came with before they even put their own stuff on.
That's where you can see the FLIR. I'm just not quite
FLIR,
sure.
this is the night vision that they were talking about.
Let's stop before we go downstairs. The Raymarine units. Okay, so given that the technology on board this boat is so extensive and there are
pretty
so
nice.
many systems that could be a forensic popcorn trail, my belief is that
And I'm hoping it will be, because listen to this. Now, he knows exactly how to work all of the systems he's put on there and installed on there. But there may be some systems that are on his boat that he doesn't know how they work. He didn't properly disconnect them, that might have some forensic digital evidence on it. We can keep our fingers crossed, but hopefully that will be the case in related to this.
that Brian, if he did something to Lynette, and I'm not saying he did because he's not charged with anything, but I don't think that he would use soulmate.
I don't think so either. I think we figured out how he did it. I did not realize until we just came to this that they have a way to pull their dinghy up and drop it into the water. That's a game changer. Period. It's a game changer.
As a ghost ship. We talked about how to make it a ghost ship, but I don't think he would, only because I'm starting to see
Anchor.
in this tour that
It's the anchor.
woof, there is a lot for forensic investigators to sink their teeth into to see if that boat moved, right?
But it's not that. Lubbers, we don't see the boat moving. We see activity going on. We see a dark shadow that looks like a possible dinghy, but we don't see the boat itself moving. I think that's clue number one. Clue number two, actually clue number one for me was when he was talking to those people about how he needed another foot of water under him, but he needs help getting his anchor up because he can't do it by himself. That was clue number one. This is only supported that because I was starting to feel like, okay, maybe he didn't take the boat out, the main boat, the soulmate. And if he didn't take soulmate out, that means he's going to be limited in where he could go in a dinghy, period. So we need to look at that.
So I think if Brian did something that was completely opposite to the story he told us with Lynette bouncing out, if he used the dinghy maybe to say, I don't know, move a body, again, I'm not saying he did, he's not charged with anything, the soulmate would stay right on its anchor all night long, bobbing along, and these incredible electronic systems would show that it's there and didn't move. Let's keep going.
But hey, let's get on down inside this boat. And like I told you earlier, there's something that's really awesome down here that I want to show you guys, besides the fact that it's just a very large boat with a lot of room. All right, as we come down here, we start off with the galley.
Nice.
Really, really deep, large sinks. That one you could definitely fit like a 6-quart Instant Pot in, so for cooking that way, you have your really nice gimbaled propane stove and oven. They do have a microwave on board.
Look at that. They got a radio.
Couple of them. They have installed a refrigerator in here, fairly decent size for a sailboat. Additionally, they have here would be an ice box, or a lot of people, if you have a refrigerator, they would just use this as just a ton of storage for food items. But you can see the drain down there,
yep.
So you could use it if you wanted to throw a bunch of ice in. Storage out there on the shelves for pots, pans, things like that. Here's another one. These are not refrigerated. Something I wanted to say about this specific boat, this guy has, when I show the wiring and stuff and then a lot of the plumbing, he has gone through and replumbed so much of this boat with really high quality stuff. You can see it right there.
PEX tubing.
And you know, you don't have wiring runs on this boat that are just going all mumbled jumbled. He has done a really great job of going back to this boat and just cleaning it out in the electrical system. when I first came on board, I was so impressed.
There it is.
Got your electrical panel. You have your nav station. This table is nav station table is literally twice the size of the normal ones that I see. It is huge, and I don't know if that really picks up in the video, but
That's where they have all, yeah, as you guys can see underneath it, the maps. You got this little doohickey up here. I told you, doohickey. I use doohickey a lot. But there's the doohickey up there. So this is kind of where you plan, you mark your trip, so to speak.
it's huge. Don't want to forget, it has really nice, pretty new ACR EPIRB, so that if you know, something were to happen out at sea, that could go in the water with you on your life raft.
Wow.
They could find by satellite. They could come find.
So they had stuff in there that they could have gotten emergency help immediately, notifying people by satellite, and he didn't go back to the boat and get that. That is a huge, huge thing.
And
huge.
Pick you up, hopefully. Now we're going to go into the salon. Really long, large couch, a lot of storage outboard. There is storage underneath all these seats as well. Big storage outboard there behind those doors. Large TV. That plastic that he's rolled down there was actually kind of ingenious. I asked him, I said, you know, hey, if you're in the kitchen, you can't see each other. But what he said was, that really, really nice TV has really great sound, but it comes out the bottom, and he put the plastic there, just kind of rolled it down, so that the sound would actually bounce back here in the salon. He said it was kind of focusing itself more back into the galley, and it was making it hard to hear, so he had put that up. But it's, you know, it's just temporary. Looks like it could be rolled up if you wanted. But
oh, and this is their bedroom.
Large.
One of them.
Here in this galley.
Oh, this is that storage room. They took that whole storage room. V-berth. That's where they had all that stuff that Carly showed. You know, the boxes and stuff.
Large amount of storage.
They didn't use it as another
this
bedroom.
Is not
there's the bathroom.
One of the things that I was talking about, the big deal, but it is a huge upgrade, and both heads have this. In this forward head.
So it sounds like there's 2 bathrooms on here too. That's unusual on a sailboat.
What we have is a nature's head composting toilet.
So this is important. He calls it a forward head and an aft head. Basically, it means potty, bathroom. So there's a bathroom in the front and a bathroom in the back. There are 2 bathrooms. I don't know if Carly and Steve looked into that forward head, that forward bathroom. I don't know if, say, Brian and Lynette decided, I want this bathroom and you take that bathroom, or should we share the back bathroom and leave the front bathroom as a guest bathroom? I don't know how many guests they have. I know they had Carly in February, but it's just the terminology is forward head. Head is the name.
At least she got to see her mother 2 months before she left, right? I mean, it was February. It wasn't this time. It doesn't make a difference, especially when it comes to your mom. But, you know, at least she got to see her. It wasn't 3 years previously. You know, she was just visiting with her. So that's at least, you know, a plus.
For boaters, for toilet. So just interesting. I don't know that they checked that forward head, and I don't know that they checked that back head, but Carly said that they didn't. Let's keep going.
And if you watch some of my other videos, I talk about, like, that Ranger Tug had a airhead composting toilet, and my big old Tiana 42-foot sailboat, she has an airhead. But one of the advantages of, they work just the same. These Nature's Head, if you have the room like this boat does, these Nature's Head, actually, it's a wider toilet seat.
Okay, I think
and works exactly the same. Huge for this boat. It just.
Okay, I'm done with the toilets.
In the forward head and in the aft head is a huge upgrade in my opinion. fairly decent sized V-berth. You know, your normal typical sailboat V-berth. He has a vacuum under there, but more storage. Before we exit the salon here, I am going to open up a couple of these just to show you how
I don't really care.
outboard that they're.
Oh, well, they do have some supplies there. Look at that. That stuff. Okay.
I do want to point out that this is a keel-stepped mast. Like I've said in all my videos, the keel-stepped masts, they go all the way down, and they're considered by most people to be a lot stronger. Even though if your mast does end at the deck, with modern rigging and stuff, they can still be really strong and everything. But a lot of people prefer these.
Oh, look at that. We missed all this. They have a whole different area for them.
So this is still not the surprise.
Wow.
But
That's
this used to be some bunks. But in my opinion, he's wisely for his uses. He's converted this to a workbench with a vise, areas that he can work and store all kinds of parts. So he uses this whole area. One time he was a diesel mechanic, so he does the work on this motor. And so really large
Diesel
area
motor.
to
That's
work
good.
on anything on this boat. And you just don't find that a lot. What I was talking about earlier, it's the engine room, guys. The engine room on this is absolutely for a sailboat. And even for a lot of powerboats, this is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful engine room. He's kept this engine clean. I did get an engine run video for the listing on this because this boat is currently being listed as of the time of this video. In the future, if you watch this video, I'm sure this boat will be gone. But she just ran like a champ.
Wow.
But look
nice.
at this access. Look at the access on this.
And that's the most important, because that's what costs you the most money when they have to take everything apart just to get to the stuff that they need to work on. So, all right, so that's a plus. Let's go look at the other stuff.
All organized.
Look at that.
Nice and clean.
I'm sorry, that's a lot of technology. I don't know if he would. I mean, he's a geek, but would he have remembered to turn off everything? I don't think he would have. I really don't.
And if you're wondering, hey, how do I get over to the other side? Through the aft head, there is an access door, large access door that you could get there too. But this right here just makes it. This sort of boat, having this sort of access, huge plus.
If you're wondering what access means, we're in the dark and have a engine from.
Okay.
And there's also one right there going back to the master stateroom. But this is a huge walk-in. He did keep a black water tank and toilet that goes to a black water tank. But he also installed an airhead.
So they got like 3 bathrooms.
So he did keep a backup. So there are 2 toilets here. So if somebody does want to have that black water tank, he has one. And he has one head. But here's another one of those Nature's Head composting toilets.
We have I want to see their bedroom. I want to see how big the bedroom is. Here's the shower.
Shower area. Seat so you can sit down.
So you can take a shower. Not your traditional
And once again,
shower.
here's this large access
to the back.
to the
Okay.
other side of the engine room.
That's nice. All right, let's keep going.
Oh, and
He's like all about this engine room.
it's just
Okay, and I understand the importance of it.
all right.
Now let's
Well,
go.
we'll go through this door. And this is a really large area.
Yeah, looks like a
Really
place to
large
clean.
bed. Cabinets and drawers.
It's pretty
Plenty
nice.
of space.
So they have about 3 bedrooms because you can turn that seating out in the galley. You can turn that into a bed. Plus, they had that little front that they turned into a storage that kind of eliminates that. But that could have been a little sleeping room as well. So basically, 3 toilets, 3 beds. I can see it. So it's a lot larger, a lot more roomy than we had anticipated when we first got into this case. And again, just identifying, one, we had bright lights. We've identified the bright lights. We've identified that there's a lot of rope on this boat. And then there are absolutely, without a doubt, weights of some sort that could be fashioned as weights and physical weights aboard the Soulmate. So these are problematic issues, and we did find a very much a feasible and probable way of removing her from this boat if need be, if she was deceased. And that's through the apparatus for the dinghy, getting the dinghy up on the boat, lowering the dinghy down from the boat. Seems like a very good apparatus there that could hold and withstand a human body being in there. And that's what we're looking for. We're looking for all the possibilities. Do we have the possibilities aboard this boat? The answer is yes, we do. So now we couple the stuff that we've identified here with the statements from Brian about what happened that night. And I think we can pretty much see that Brian's story does not hold water. And that's the bottom line. It can't, in my opinion, hold water. She can't be missing forever and have fallen out of the dinghy where she said she fell out of the dinghy, right? If she's dead and she drowned, then she's dead and she's drowned. There's nothing that we can do about that. So what would happen? She would surface. She would wash ashore. Even if people say, well, what about the marine life, the sharks? You're right. That could be a possibility. And she may have a very battered body, but her body would still be visible. Portions of her body would still be visible. Portions of her body would still wash ashore. Sharks can't eat a whole person. Okay? You're talking about shallow water here. You're talking about a mouth maybe this big. Okay? So even if it took a chunk out of her, it'd take a chunk. Okay? We're not missing a whole body. We haven't found her. On those statements alone, she should have washed ashore by now. She hasn't. Therefore, there's no possibility of his story being correct. She's somewhere else, and she's most likely somewhere where she's not just kind of floating about. So I believe she's in the mangroves or on land. I think that that's what this would be. But you know what? The probability of him having to transport her, I don't see even at night him transporting her just as a body. He would have put her in something. So what else is missing from that boat? One thing I didn't see on that whole entire boat that Carly showed was a cooler. Any type of cooler. No cooler whatsoever. Was there a cooler previously? We're going to have to go back in some of the older videos that she posted to find out. Ooh, I didn't realize I have some emails here. Hold on. Okay, answered that. Oh. Okay, thank you for that. All right, guys. Now we've come to the time where we've discussed Lynette and Brian's case. We've showed you guys all that we can show you related to the boat. We've slowed it down. We've really paid attention to. Could we do more scrutiny? Of course we could. We didn't do a heavy amount of scrutiny, but we did identify a few things that were problematic to us, at least to me, and explored those a little bit more. I don't believe Brian's story. I've never believed Brian's story. Ever since I pulled up Google Earth and realized how incredibly shallow this area was, I stopped believing his story. That happened on day 2. So his story resonated with me for less than 24 hours. We did the research we were supposed to do. We identified that his story wasn't making sense. We still listened. We're still hopeful. And then the bombshell came with Lynette's daughter and her mother speaking out against Brian and his violence toward their mother and daughter. That's when we finally realized what we were truly dealing with here and why things didn't make sense, because she was most likely a victim of domestic violence. And she's most likely deceased. And Brian would have been, if she's dead, he's the only one, and murdered, he's the only one that had the motive, means, and opportunity to kill her. He already identified being the last person with her. He identified him being the last person that saw her before she disappeared for forever. The story that he gave could not possibly have made sense. Therefore, he lied. This is a great circumstantial case that could be brought forward. I know that they're looking for her. They're not going to want to arrest him without her, but they have, in my opinion, they have enough here for a great and a strong circumstantial case of second-degree homicide. And I think what we're ultimately going to find out is that this was not premeditated in the fact of premeditation, like he planned this out for days and weeks. But what we will find out, if we do find her body, that he had an opportunity to stop and chose to move to continue, therefore making it a first-degree homicide charge. But in all fairness, I'm fine with a second degree. I'd rather see him behind bars than being able to walk free amongst us and amongst his friends and family, giving them a bunch of lies and horse crap, horse manure, as the story of what happened. The story defies logic. The story doesn't make sense. This lady could have stood up and walked to the boat for everything that's holy, walked to land, got help if she so needed it. The 3 to 5 feet of water is not deep enough for a seasoned swimmer, an athlete, to drown in. Now, is it enough to drown in? You absolutely are correct. Any amount of water, an inch of water, can drown somebody. Okay? But at the end of the day, if you are seasoned in water, water will not hurt you. The people that drown in water are the people that cannot swim, that don't even think to stand up. That's not what we're dealing with here. We're dealing with seasoned sailors, sailors that have been on this water for 3 years, day and night, for their life. If this lady hasn't gone over a few times, I would call her a liar. I guarantee she's gone over board multiple times on their expeditions over the last 3 years. I guarantee it. And guess what? She climbed back on boat, right? Why? Because water doesn't kill somebody that's seasoned in swimming in it and knowing how to deal with it. The story doesn't make sense because the story didn't happen the way Brian said it happened. All right, guys, that's my conclusion for today's show with relations to Brian and Lynette. Now we're going to cross over to the case that we've spent a good amount of time covering, and that is the case of Miss Nancy Guthrie. Nancy Guthrie is an 84-year-old grandmother and mom to today's show co-host Savannah Guthrie. Well-known lady. She has been seen on Savannah's show multiple times, even recently before her disappearance. She was ripped out of her bed by a masked gunman, and we have been desperately trying to search for any information that will identify that masked gunman or his potential accomplices. We have not been successful on that front. We have tried diligently to understand this case, understand what had happened. We went from a financial motive to something much different. I think at first, the notoriety of Savannah Guthrie, the amount of money and wealth that her family does have, I think that did distract us a little bit in this case by way of us believing it had something to do with it. I think it could still potentially have something to do with Savannah. But for me, I've kind of moved past that in part. One, because I feel like if it had something to do with Savannah or monetary motivation, I feel like that would have already been identified at this juncture. This happened on February 1st. It is now May 6th. It's been a long time. It's been well over 3 months. I think if there was an angle, a motivation, a money or a Savannah angle, I think they would already have a short list of suspects, and that's not what we're hearing. So then we had to start looking at Miss Nancy Guthrie all by herself, right? Without her family influence, without any of that, and see what makes sense. And now we're starting to feel a little more comfortable. Like, I feel like now that we're taking our focus away from Savannah and the financial motivation and starting to look at Miss Guthrie herself, I think we've identified one thing very prominently. She was a very active lady in her community. Even at 84, with mobility issues, she had a very much a social calendar. She was a very active woman, from church to mahjong groups to reading groups. She was a happening lady. She was enjoying her retirement. She wasn't one of those ladies that sit and rock in a chair 8 hours a day. She wanted to go. She wanted to have fun. She wanted to speak to her friends. She wanted to live. That's what her lifestyle shows us. Very independent lady, very sharp-minded lady, just living her life. But because she was sharp, because she was independent, because she lived alone, she handled a lot of her own business, right? She handled people coming to her house. She handled her pool maintenance. She handled, she probably took care of that. Not Savannah. Savannah probably didn't take care of any of that. Probably her. She's probably the one that set all this up. When her electric went out in September 2025, who called the electrician? Who authorized the work? Who got her electricity back up and running? She did. I think this is important because the more we take the focus away from the monetary and Savannah, the more I feel like the picture's starting to come in a little clearer. I felt very hazy, like out of place, when we tried to put all these other things that seemed like they fit, but they didn't. So who did this to Miss Nancy Guthrie? Well, we've spent over the last several days trying to go back to the beginning and look at some footage. Now, granted, internet out there kind of sucks. Images on those first few days, horrible. It seems like Jonathan got out there, maybe spoke to somebody that had a satellite system or some type of internet. We started seeing much clearer images and pictures of the grounds and what was going on there. But that had already been, a week had already passed by the time I believe Jonathan got out there with the crystal clear images. So we have just a few examples of what it was the days leading up to that in that first week. And there were a few people that kind of, perked our curiosity. But one of those people that perked our curiosity was in a vehicle. And he was I don't know, just weird. He was a little weird for me. And it's this guy right here. As soon as he pulled up, to the scene, and this was on, when was this? I don't want to guess. Let's just look. The 7th. So so this is on the 7th. So this was day 6. This was day 6 of Nancy Guthrie missing. But what caught my attention with this guy is not even his olive skin and his brown hair. The first thing he says is, "Are you TMZ?" The second thing he asks is, "Will you make me famous?" And then as the conversation started going on, we realized he had a dude either in the car or on the phone listening to this whole entire conversation, which again gives you the EBGBs. Why does he have this dude on the phone if he's not in the car listening to his conversation of talking about TMZ and making somebody famous? And then he goes on to tell 857 Tucson that he actually delivered something to Miss Nancy Guthrie's house. So if that doesn't give you all around creep vibes, I don't know what is. Now, did this guy do anything? Probably not. But these are the types of things that we are looking for when we're searching for information about a situation that's happening in a case. We know what happened at the beginning of this case. If you don't, let's just walk through it. So we've learned, hindsight's 2020, right? And what we've learned now is that the Pima County Sheriff's Department was running badly. The morale was low. There's not a lot of seasoned agents there because Chris Nanos, the sheriff, has run all and everybody off. They have very green agents. They've got green people. There's only a handful of people that actually have some time and some experience. Everybody else is green. We found out that the people originally to this house had no homicide or kidnapping experience. They barely had any experience at all. I don't even want to begin to find out who did the forensic testing in this house from Pima County, because what I observed was horrible. I don't know. I don't want to be critical of the worker bees of Pima County Sheriff because I feel like they've come under fire enough. But in the reality of things, we have to speak truthfully here on these shows, in my opinion. And if that hurts feelings, it hurts feelings. That's not my intent. But my intent is the truth and transparency. When Brian Enton went up to this home and went up to this front door, there was a trail of blood. There was a mat. There was a bracket that didn't have anything on it, and there was foliage on the ground. I can tell you that many people, when he was walking up, the first thing out of their mouth is, what are those plants for? Why are those plants there? Where did they come from? Because it's cacti. We didn't even know that he pulled them out of her yard. They didn't belong. The problem is when Brian Enton went up to that front door, that was after law enforcement had already processed the scene and already turned that house back over to the family. Why is it important? It shows that they did not do their job. If they did their job, the mat would have came, the bracket would have been removed, you would have seen black dust on everything for fingerprinting, the foliage down below on the ground covering the cement or the tile and the mat would have been collected. All of that would have been collected. Why? Because you've physically seen blood outside that door. So you know, if nothing more, that something happened there. It doesn't take a rocket science. We're not trying to decide what happened there. That's not our job. Even as crime scene investigators, not their job. Right? They're not there to try to figure out what happened. They're just there to collect the evidence. Yet all of that evidence remained behind after they released the house. So I can't, in good conscience, not say something about the forensic team, because that was piss poor in my opinion. And who am I? I'm a nobody, okay? I'm a nobody that has gone across this country and watched forensic testing done front and center. I have watched the best of the best in this country do their job in front of me. Me here, them there, watch them do their job. I've done that all over this country, from Wyoming to Florida. Okay? From Massachusetts to Texas. And everywhere in between. I have been. I have seen the best of law enforcement, and I have seen the absolute worst in law enforcement. This comes close to pretty bad. I'm not going to say the worst, but pretty stinking bad. Thank you, Army. We appreciate you. One man army. Oh, I like how you spelled that. Welcome. But at the end of the day, we know that has held up. But that's not the crux of this conversation, right? We know that happened. It's a shame that it happened. We're sorry that it happened. But at the end of the day, why did Chris Nanos do this? Now, I don't know why Chris Nanos did this. I don't know why his team failed to do their job beyond expectation, especially who this was and what really mattered. This woman's life was in jeopardy. She was in danger. I believe she was dead when she walked out of that house, or when she left that house, or dying when she left that house. But that's just my opinion. Okay? I have no evidence other than what's out to the public. I got no secret sources that are guiding me and telling me stuff. This is just my opinion. But there are many people in my audience that do not believe like me. And they believe this woman was taken out of that house alive. And if you believe that this woman was taken out of that house alive, then you also have to conclude because of Chris Nanos being the sheriff, she lost her life. Because minutes and seconds mattered, and he squandered the most important minutes and seconds. Squandered them over a pissing contest. He put somebody's life in jeopardy over politics. That's why we do not like Chris Nanos. I don't know who the man is. I can tell you at this point, if he was on fire, I probably wouldn't even use my pee to put him out. As disgusting as that sounds. I would let him burn. This man has caused so much pain in people's lives, not even including the people that he is supposed to be managing, the people from his department. He's ruined their names. He's ruined their reputations. And all they wanted to do was serve their community. And he wouldn't even allow them to do that. And then the most critical, failing to allow the people that are smarter and have more resources than the counties, the FBI, he sidelined them for 4 blessed days. She was already dead by the time he decided to bring the FBI in, which was sitting knocking on his door the first day. Here's the proof of that.
In a newly released podcast, FBI Director Kash Patel raising new criticism about law enforcement cooperation in the unsolved disappearance of Nancy Guthrie, mother of our colleague Savannah.
The first 48 hours of anyone's disappearance are the most critical.
Patel tells Sean Hannity that the Pima County, Arizona Sheriff's Department waited too long to engage the FBI.
We're here to help. What do you need? What can we do? And for 4 days, we were kept out of the investigation.
Nancy Guthrie was reported missing on Sunday, February 1st.
I will tell you guys in Pima County, it's time for you guys to get a protest. It's time for you to protest the sheriff's office. How dare he? This could have been your mother. This could have been your child. This could have been a family member that you love and adore instead of Miss Nancy Guthrie. And he would have sat FBI out and allowed your loved one to be a victim of homicide before he ever even brought the FBI in. That should make everybody in this area angry. Angry. Like spitting, mad, angry.
However, the Pima County Sheriff said they called the FBI 1 day later on Monday.
That morning, it wasn't days later that we contacted that morning, we contacted the FBI.
And that Tuesday, the sheriff and a Tucson-based FBI official held a joint press conference. The director praises the Bureau for the biggest lead in the case.
When we were finally let in, Sean, look what we did. We went in and got the Ring doorbell. And we said, hey, is anyone talking to Google?
So the FBI did that, not Chris Nanos. We've got these here because of our FBI. Because of the resources and the grit and the pressure. Do you think you're going to tell the FBI no? Mm-mm. Like our state attorney right now is ready to go after social media owners, like not Mark Zuckerberg, because he's got, he's pretty chill with but for Discord and that Roblox, they're talking about literally throwing the owners in jail for destroying and tampering with evidence on their platforms, restricting law enforcement's ability to prosecute people. Our Florida AG is literally in considering highly, if this continues to happening, throwing the owners, the head guys, the CEOs in jail. And I hope they do. Because they are tampering with evidence and obstructing justice. And those are going to be the charges that they get. But here, Google, FBI reaches out to him and says, what can you find me? Do you think Google wanted to show these things? Do you think Google wanted to find these things in the residual data? No. Because this makes everybody feel like big brother's watching even when they're not supposed to be watching, but everything goes through the internet, and it's once through the internet, it's there forever. As you clearly see, would this be written over? Yeah, it'd be written over. But it still seems like they have the tools to now start finding and mining these things that are out there that we know nothing about. And thank God that they did, because how much further would we be behind if it wasn't for the FBI? And then to think that our country still makes us have to go and beg these yahoos like Chris Nanos and the piece of shit state attorneys that are right behind them, right? And beg them, you being the victims' families, and having to go beg them, can you please turn this over to the FBI? No. Can you please turn this over to the FBI? No. FBI, can you please take this case? No, they have to give it to us. No. We're bosses here. Okay? And it's time for our government to understand we're the bosses. When we're tired of dealing with our sheriff or dealing with somebody that's not looking, like look at Sebastian Rogers' case. They ain't doing shit for that boy. Nothing. They've done squat for him. And his father wants the FBI to take over the case, and he can't get around the corrupted sheriff or the corrupted DA. They're not looking into this case, so why do they care? Why don't they just hand it off? Get us out of your hair. They won't. Why? Because they don't like Seth. They don't like the people that are trying to fight for this boy. They don't like it. So what are they doing? They're closing the case and putting their foot on the neck. A law enforcement body is doing that. And we have begged them to bring in the Secret Service. We've begged them to bring in the U.S. Marshals. The U.S. Marshals are ready to... All they needed to do was sign a form. That's all Sumner County Sheriff had to do was sign a blessed form. And the U.S. Marshals would have been in to help. They pushed the U.S. Marshals out. Sumner County did. Just like Chris Nanos and the FBI. And they're telling us that we have no power to move our cases up to the FBI or to TBI or to the state agency, that we have to go and beg the corrupted politicians to do it. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for corruption. And now we have to go and beg corruption not to be corrupted enough to let our cases move up? What is wrong with this country? What is wrong with this country? Right now, this case should be able, somebody from this family should be able to go to the FBI and say, look, I do not like this sheriff. He has screwed up this case so bad. I need somebody else to take a look at it. And they be like, fill out this form. We'll see if you meet the criteria and we'll take the case. That's the way it should be. It shouldn't be, oh, well, the state attorney, he can hand it over. Well, what if the state attorney's corrupted? Oh, well, then you're kind of screwed. But I'm boss. Well, sounds like the employees rule the roost. That's not how I roll. And that's not how the public should rule. So I think that there's a lot to be had here. But think about it. Chris Nanos kicked these people to the curb for 4 days. This isn't Chris Nanos' work. What you're seeing behind me, this is the beauty of the FBI.
FBI contacted Google, and they recovered those chilling images from the door camera system.
That's why you have that image, because the FBI worked with Google to put that image out.
That suspect remains unidentified 3 months later. The director also cited differences over handling DNA evidence. Pima County chose a Florida lab it regularly used.
We would have analyzed it within days and maybe gotten better information or more information. Our lab's just better than any other private lab out there.
And that's a fact.
And we didn't get a chance to do that. So
this lady, if you believe she was alive when she left that house, then you have to believe that because of Chris Nanos, she is dead. Could he have saved her? I guess we'll never know. We will never, ever know. Why? Because once you make mistakes like Chris Nanos made with the FBI, you can never undo those mistakes. And because of those mistakes, I absolutely 100% believe we are here to this day. Do I believe that they could have found the suspect? I do. In my heart of hearts, I do. If this house was properly, because I know the FBI, they would have cut that freaking concrete out at the front door. They would have cut it out. They would have taken it with them. They may even have taken the whole damn door out and taken it with them. I mean, I know the quality of the FBI, and they're not opposed to taking the items with them, right? They'll cut the whole damn wall out of your house and take it in an intact, whatever it takes. You see what I'm saying? But they went in there and they didn't even take the mat or dust for prints outside the front door where there was clearly blood and obviously a struggle with Miss Guthrie. This was horrible. This was bad. This is a stain on that department that I don't even know if getting rid of Chris Nanos is going to wash the stain off. Like, this was bad. This was bad. We do have leads, in my opinion. I think we need to think outside of the box. But honestly, even though we do have people being active, more active in Pima County, Arizona to do the right thing than not, we're not there yet. Like, there's still a lot of work to be had, and it's not just Pima County. It's the entire Arizona. I'm going to tell you guys, this is just my opinion. I'm going to harp on this probably for the next few years. You do not give your county commission or supervisors the ability to arrest you. Okay? When I found out that they can enact an ordinance that has a penalty of a misdemeanor, you have lost your ever-loving mind. Somebody, some activist or activists in Arizona, you guys need to be taking on this issue directly and squarely. That is scary. First of all, keep your bloody hands off me. Okay? But the idea that you can have 1 week not be arrested for a job or doing something, and then the next week, because they don't like you, they can enact an ordinance and have you thrown in jail from 1 week to the next? No! No! That is dangerous. I don't know who in their right mind would give a small local government that kind of power, tyranny over them. And I'm surprised it hasn't been abused more than it has. And it probably has. You guys probably don't even know how many times you guys could be arrested for doing some all-around stupid crap because of your stupid ordinances there in Pima County or in the state of Arizona. You do not ever give a small group, 5 people, the ability to throw your ass in jail. What is wrong with you? That is the most asinine, stupid thing I've ever heard of in my life. Let my county commissioners try to arrest me. I double dog dare ya. Ain't no way in hell that I'd give those assholes up there at Manatee County Board of County Commissioners the ability to put an ordinance in that has rulings of a misdemeanor. I wish you would. I wish you would. There ain't no way. There ain't no way. And so I really think out of all the things, all the concerning things I've seen out in Arizona, that is by far the most concerning I've seen. Now, granted, it has nothing to do with Nancy Guthrie, but we're activists, okay? I do true crime, but at the end of the day, I'm a political activist. And there's just certain things that I come across, even with doing the true crime, that I've got to stop and say, you guys better think about this really, really hard. And this is a law in the state of Tennessee, or in the state of Arizona. So you're not talking about just making changes here in Pima County. Like, this is an Arizona law. You need to go back and correct the law. You need to get in your higher politicians and say, hell to the nah. You want to have fees and fines and monetary things associated, like tickets and stuff. That's one thing. But being able to actually handcuff and throw somebody in jail over an ordinance, you've lost your ever-loving mind. You've lost your ever-loving mind. So if I could tell anybody in the state of Arizona of a fix that I would have, and I know it has nothing to do with Nancy Guthrie or her case, but it has to do with all of you citizens, I would never allow somebody to have that much ruling power over me, especially all you folks out there stomping and saying no kings. That sounds like more like kings and dictatorship than anything I've ever heard. I would never allow that. Ever. You want to talk about kings? That's king-like. You want to talk about tyranny? That's tyranny-like. So you guys might have a lot to say about me, but let me say something. I'm trying to be honest with you. There's no way I would allow any government official outside of my legislature to have that kind of control over me. Period. And I hope that if anything, if I impact Arizona in any way, ever, in this country, I pray to God it's changing that, because that is scary. And how many of you guys have gone to jail because somebody changed an ordinance? I wish you would. I would take that all the way to the Supreme Court. I almost want to go to Arizona and get arrested over an ordinance just so I can take it to the Supreme Court. Like that's where I'm at, because I just don't see how that is even remotely legitimate or lawful. But I read it myself. It's written into their statutes. That's got to change. Please change it. Please change it. And you know what? It doesn't affect me. You know why? Because I'm not getting arrested in Arizona. Why? I don't go to Arizona. All of you guys are living there. I'm just saying. It ain't affecting me, not one iota. But I guarantee it's going to be affecting one of y'all. So, I don't know. What's going on with Nancy Guthrie's case? I'm fearful. You want to know my truth? I've set up the StreamYard, but I don't think we're going to have time for StreamYard today. We're already going on into our third hour, and if I open StreamYard, we're going to be here for another hour or two. So I'm kind of over the conversation. We kind of had a lot to go over this morning on our show, just some new cases. We spent a lot of extra time on Lynette's case, which had the most probative information. That was really good. I found that boat information, going through it, seeing everything. That was really cool. I really did enjoy that. I hope you guys learned a little bit. I definitely did. And of course here, we've kind of known this. We didn't know it was 4 days that they sidelined the FBI. And yeah, he may have called the FBI, but calling the FBI in and sidelining them are two totally different things. You can call the FBI in just to say, I did it, and still sideline them. So I don't trust Chris Nanos. I don't think anybody here really trusts Chris Nanos. He's lied under oath. He's lied to the people for 40 years. He's obviously not opposed to lying to people. And so it makes it very difficult to digest anything that man says, because we have to question everything, because he's been caught in so many lies. So many. So I thank you all for coming out. I want to thank you guys. I hope you guys have a great hump day. We will be back later tonight. I'll go ahead and try to get that set up. I'll find out if you guys notice, I am searching for a new case. Okay. I'm searching for a new case for a few reasons. Nancy Guthrie's case, we can keep circling back to the same talking points, but at the end of the day, there's only going to be a few more things that are going to pop up, and then it's going to be dead. The case is dying, and it's not because we want it to die. I don't want it to die. I want to see this lady come home, whatever condition she is in. I just want to know what happened to her. But at the end of the day, there's so many things wrong with this case. We're going to be hurrying up and waiting for a while. From the people I understand is the whole DNA stuff. It's going to take a while. So we're not even going to get any information for another 6 to 9 months. And that's if we're lucky. So we're going to be monitoring this from not on a daily basis. We haven't been talking about it daily. And then, of course, Lynette and Brian, we're almost to the end of that. We've got as much information that's going to be put out to the public. Now it's going to be a hurry up and wait game on that. Yeah, we know Brian, we're on arrest watch. We know Brian's going to be arrested, and we know he's going to be arrested at some point. But when is that going to happen? Is it going to be now? Is it going to be a year? It's going to be whenever they process the information. They're not hurrying up to arrest Brian. He's not trying to escape the United States. He's in the United States. He's in Michigan right now. He's not planning on going back to the Bahamas. He's got an attorney in the Bahamas. He's got an attorney in Michigan. So he's going to sit tight and try to, just weather the storm, even though he knows that the knock is going to be coming sooner or later. So we're going to be waiting for that. But I mean, as far as like Carly's left the area, she's not going to be going back. I can't imagine how hard it is for her to even have done that. It doesn't seem like Ashley Banfield is going to be going back to the area for a while. So everything that we are having for these cases, this is it. So these cases are going to start. I mean, yeah, we're going to have a few talking points, but they're phasing themselves out until there's some renewed information, real probative information that's going to start changing the direction. It's going to be kind of just really flat. So we're looking for somebody that we can help. We're looking for any type of case that we can help in. Some of the criteria is it got to defy logic. If it's a straightforward case, which some of our cases are fairly straightforward and just not getting enough attention, or there's an element of corruption in it, like Sebastian Rogers. We don't usually do teenage kids, but we did his case, and it was because it was important. We knew that something wasn't right in his case. It was defying logic. So that's the major criteria, is that it defies logic, despite who is involved in it. And so we're looking for anybody that we can help. If a case is fairly new and it's not getting enough attention, and it's not going viral, and it needs some resources, those are the cases I'm looking for. I'm looking to help a family. I'm looking to help a family that's disadvantaged, that doesn't have the ability to get their case further out than it is, right? And it's got to be something that defies logic, because that's what my audience wants. They need something, what it keeps my audience engaged. We can run all the cases, but if I don't have an audience to show the cases to, what good is it? My audience is engaged with logic-defying cases, the cases that make you think, the cases that make you research, the cases that make you learn. Those are the cases that interest my audience the most, and I know that because those are the cases that interest me the most. And me and my audience, while we don't parrot each other, we have the same mentality. We like the same type of things, and so I have to think that AZ needs to step up. They do need to step up, but that's all in their time. It's you can lead a horse to water, but you can't force them to drink. You can tell it's a lot of people, they've lived in areas for so long, they've never lived in any other law. They just think this is the way everybody lives, or how law's done everywhere all over the country. And it's our responsibility to let them know, no, it's not. You guys are getting the shaft. You guys are like really getting the shaft. This is not how the rest of the world's living. So sometimes just bringing it to their attention is enough to inspire change. Sometimes people need to be gently nudged, but I think what helped this area out is that this case grew so big, and it was so obvious of the corruption and the fact that Chris Nanos didn't know what the hell he was doing. That was so stinking obvious to everyone. And I think that is what really got this going in the right direction, because there are prideful people. People are very happy with their community. They love their community. I used to love this community that I live in, okay? My politicians that I helped employ screwed everything up, because once they got into their job, they didn't want to listen anymore. They knew better than the rest of us. And now we're so taxed out here, where they just spend our money like it's like our money is growing on trees, and they don't even consider. Now, mind you, I am a Republican, which means what? Less government, right? That means less taxes, less government. That means whenever you get a silo of $500 million, I expect you to start, giving it back to the taxpayers, not hoarding the money, right? That to me is what, the Democrat side would do, because they are all about, philanthropy and, handing out your money to all the disadvantaged people. That's the Democrat playbook. Our playbook is giving it back to the people, returning that tax money. If you don't need it, return it, right? Now, don't spend it, give it back. And so, and you don't have to agree with my politics, and that's fine. You have to live for yourself, not for me, right? But that's the way it is here in this community. So that's what we expect. Yet our politicians keep spending our money. They don't ever return it back to us. Even though we hired them to bring our money back to our pockets, they keep taking it for themselves. So I can't stand my politician makeup right now, right? Even the people that I like, I can't stand at this point. It pisses me off to even look at them. George and Tal, I got no love for them. Actually, it's just the opposite. I used to have respect for George. I have zero respect for that man. All I'm trying to do for this point is destroy that man's reputation because he deserves to have it destroyed. He's a drunk. He's done foolish things. He spent $130 million on places that don't, for his rich friends. My money for his rich friends? Get the heck out of here with that bull, right? Amanda Ballard too. We're taking them all on. So we want less government. We want our money back. If you don't need it, give it back. Give it back. And I feel like that out here in Pima County, they did that. They took these people's money. They didn't spend it on the infrastructure or the items they needed to keep them safe, and they didn't give them back their damn money either. They spent it and pissed it away on bullcrap. That's what they did. That's what they did here. And now you guys need resources, and you ain't got them. Why? Because all your money is spent on what? I have no earthly idea. Because here in Florida, we spend money on infrastructure. Your infrastructure is lacking. So where the hell is your taxes going? I have no idea. You need to be working that out with your politicians. But I can tell you, you guys are getting the shaft. That's what I'm saying. If you guys want me to do a forensic audit of Pima County, let me know. We'll start working on me going in there, but I will not be going in there for commentary on Nancy Guthrie. If you want help on getting your politics back on track, I'll do a forensic audit for you. I absolutely will do a forensic audit. I will pull all the public records of their finances, and I will go through there and show you where all your money is. Because it's in silos somewhere. It's hidden. It's hidden. Because there's no way they can spend all this money unless they are just literally pissing it away on employment costs. But we'll find that out too. But I suggest you guys start digging in deep because you guys are getting shafted out there. All right, guys, rock it out with your coffee beans out. Don't forget to be fearless. If you see something, say something. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Until next time, please be safe, but more importantly, kind to one another. And guys, if you're out in one of these communities where your government can arrest you, you guys need to really start thinking highly. Is this the kind of environment you want? And at what point does that turn against you, right? You might be lucky up to this point, but do you really want to have 5 or 7 people have that much power over you? That is scary. And I think people need to start asking themselves some questions because none of us trust our government. So why in the hell would you give your government that much power? I'm just saying. It's time for you guys to start thinking. All right, guys, you have a great day. We'll be back later this afternoon, and we'll pick up whatever we forgot this morning. Have a great day, and we'll see you soon.